Oopsie. Oh my god. I was like, wait, this is the second part of the song. Oh my god, I'm running out of time. What the fuck? Hello, good evening everyone. Hi. Hi, no, hi chat, hello. Oh, how are you on your way home? That's perfectly fine. I am here. Good afternoon, good evening. Hello. Thank you for the higher time. Thank you for the pad. Oh my god. So, good news. Good news. I am not sick anymore, or at least not as sick as I was the past 2 days. It's like, I still, like, my voice is still a little, like, my throat hurts, but we're good again. I don't have a fever anymore, so we're out here. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're not. You haven't liquefied. Anyway, I hope you haven't melted in this weather. I was very close to it. Like the hottest we've had today was 36 degrees. I think it's slowly starting to go down though, and it's supposed to rain tonight, so I'm hoping it's gonna like go down a little bit. I have the fan running in the back though, so if you can hear that noise, that's the fan. It's kind of needed. How are you doing? Glad to hear at least a bit better. I am. I was out and about today. It's like I have a slight headache, but that's like mostly because of the heat, I think. So otherwise, we're doing good. And I really want to continue this game today. See what happens. See what else is there. I'm trying so hard to not look at anyone else who's doing Stray, who's playing Stray. Like my entire Steam friend list, what seems like when I scroll down the activity bar, it's like, oh, played Stray for the first time, or unlocked achievement in Stray, or bought Stray, or put Stray on a wishlist. I'm like, damn, okay. It seems to be a really good game, but well, we're here. We're busy playing visual novels. I'm gonna play Stray at some point as well. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna play Stray at some point as well. Just not, you know, we still have a few games started right now, so we're gonna do all that first before I jump into yet another game. Because I feel like it's probably just like my personal feeling, and it's not even true, but I feel like I haven't actually done a lot of visual novels recently. Which is not true. We've played through like at least 7 of them already, so it's almost like 1 visual novel each month. Just varying lengths of those, but technically something like, I don't know, Somnium Files would count as a visual novel, but me personally, I'm like, it has a lot of gameplay. So it's like not visual novel-y enough for me to count it as visual novels. So it's stupid. It's just my brain. But I really want to play some more straight-up visual novels that are literally just about the whole reading a story experience, without any or very little mini games. So I don't know. It just feels like I haven't played a lot of pure visual novel this year. And then a bunch of like RPG stuff though, which I'm proud of. I'm very proud of myself for playing through RPGs, but like let's go back to something where I don't have to use a controller much to like. I think I said it before. I actually said it, and it was a funny, because I said it the wrong way around, where I said that my head, I wanted to say my hands start hurting from the controller, but I said it the other way around or something. But actually, I have not found a single controller in my life that does not make my hands hurt. So when I play any action game, or anything that has me pushing buttons repeatedly for an extended amount of time, and that extended amount of time is like half an hour or more, I suffer. So I wanted something where I don't have to do that a lot, which is also why we didn't do Blaze Blue just recently, because I knew, oh no, if I play Blaze Blue, I'm gonna cry because it makes my hand hurt. My hand hurts. There it is. It makes my hands hurt. But yeah, everybody wants to be a cat. Very true. That's also a song used in Disney's Aristocats, which is a very great movie. I like it a lot. You saw a thumbnail that might or not had a spoiler. No! I do not want to see any spoiler. The only spoiler that is okay is like the one that can you pet the dog? The Twitter account posted that was like, oh, you can nuzzle into another cat as the cat in Stray, which is like, that's good. That is good content. I needed to know that, but I don't want to know anything else about the game. Visual Moms are good. Yes, yes, yes. That's why we're here. It's also why we're gonna go into this loading screen. And then see. We now know who our fourth character... Where the fuck is my cursor? We now know who our fourth character is, which means we should be able to go up to here and skip a little further in. Up to the whole... Hey, aren't we missing someone? Who is missing? Here we go. We're missing one person. We're missing Line. I hope I can still do the voices the way I did them on the weekend. Line. Who? That's who we're missing. We need to find her. If you leave her behind, she might... You're suspicious as all hell. Fine, but if you don't find anyone, I'm going to knock you out and drag you out of here. You got that? Well, now you're making me doubt myself. Good. Nini, you go look near the door again. I'll take the area where I woke up. Seth, you just do whatever you do. Got it, boss. As the other two busied themselves searching their respective sections of the room, Seth wandered back towards the spot he himself had first woken up from. Oil paintings with dark stains sat discarded in the corner of the room. As Seth moved past them, he could have sworn that their eyes followed him. Ooh, that's creepy. Waiting, watching. He tore his eyes away from the portraits and resumed his search. Moss that grew between the floorboards cushioned his steps, though nothing would fully mask the creak that seemed to echo all throughout his body. Nini and Mikael were like a thing of the past as Seth moved further and further into the shadows. Where are you? Who are you? A drip of liquid landed on the top of his head. It was ice cold. His eyes traveled upwards, but the ceiling was concealed in darkness. Whatever it was, he wouldn't know, and he thought that was probably for the better. As brunette, I do not believe that this guy's hair is supposed to be brown. Like, come on. As the brunette pushed aside furniture long broken, he heard it. A gentle whimper. He hastened his actions, tossing and throwing everything to the side without any care, which quickly attracted Mikael and Nini's attention. A young woman, no older than 20, lay sleeping beneath the pile of debris. The three worked together to pull her out and check her for injuries. Is she hurt? She's okay, she's just sleeping. I'm not sure if this makes you more or less suspicious. A bit of both? Seth cradled the woman to his chest. Her breathing seemed normal and there wasn't a scratch on her body. Hi, good evening. How are you? We'll talk about it more later. We gotta wake up and get moving. Excuse me, miss. Miss, it's time to wake up. She didn't stir, no matter how hard Seth shook her shoulders. This calls for something more serious. A double slap on both cheeks. Should I be worried? No, it's not that bad. When I was in school, my mom could never get me to wake up, so she would hold me down and tickle me until I went blue in the face and passed out. What the fuck is it with these people? The tiny girl in this one room, she's like, oh yeah, my parents gave me to my grandma because they didn't want to like have to bother with me, and then my grandma tried to forget me at the supermarket. And his mom is like, oh yeah, I tickling you until you pass out, hello? Do you not know the Vine where it's like this this tiny child, like this person is, I'm guessing, babysitting them, and like walks up to the child and it's like and the child goes, "Daddy," and the camera swaps around and it's like, do I look like? It's a pretty old Vine. It always worked, bro. You might know it. If you pass out, wouldn't you be in bed for longer? Oh, yeah, that's why I'd get to stay home from school. Useless. It's not useless. You're useless. Hey, Miss, what did you say your name was again? Dine. The moment he spoke her name, her eyes fluttered open. They were deep red, almost the same color as her dress. Oh, I like that her eye color gets mentioned. With Nini or Mikael, it's never been mentioned that their eyes are red, or in Mikael's case, I guess orange. But in her case, it gets mentioned. That's interesting. Her mouth opened slightly, as if she was about to say something in return, but instead she just smiled, her eyes locked onto Sev's. Nina, are you okay? We should probably ask if her name is really Dina. I mean, this whack job is the one that said that was her name in the first place. Yes, my name's Dina. Do you know me? I don't think so. But he knew you were here somewhere and your name, apparently. Thank you. Where are we? That's a great question. I have no fucking clue. A haunted house. A haunted house. There's yet to be proof it's haunted. Maybe you're all ghosts and you're haunting me, or maybe they're all vampires. That's why they all have red eyes. Maybe Mikael is like half, because only half his hair is white and the other half is black, and that's why he has orange eyes, because the other two have very light hair and red eyes. If I was dead, I wouldn't waste my time haunting you. Aww. Am I really dead? Don't listen to him, Nini. He's a guilty until proven guilty kind of guy. Would you want to be a vampire? Maybe I am one. Not sure. Bite me. With that smile set on her face, Luna stood from the ground and looked around the room. What a dump. I feel like we have a lot to explain. I'll do the explaining while we walk. Come on, into the corridor. Mika practically dragged the other three out of the room, rushing towards their hopeful exit. I mean, yeah, the time is already running, so standing around is not a good idea. The room beyond was even more stuffed for light than the entrance hall. Darkness crept in every corner, waiting for someone to become separated from the group so they could be devoured completely. Let's make this quick. We were probably kidnapped, we all woke up separately in a room, and we're stuck in some death game with 2 hours, well, less than 2 hours now to escape. Got it? That's a little... I understand. Do you know who brought us here? No. And we have a little over an hour and a half left. This isn't good. That's putting it mildly. We need to go as quickly as possible and not waste any more time. Do you understand, Sebastian? I like it when you call me Sev more. So we have Sev? Mikael? I'm Nini. Well, this isn't the nicest way to meet, but it's nice to meet you all regardless. It's so dark. I don't suppose any of you saw a light switch? If this house even has lights, it looks old. There didn't used to be lights? Not before I invented electricity. Sev. You invented electricity? No, he didn't. I did. Wow. You're such an asshole. Stop swearing in front of the child. Fucker. The further the group traveled, the more gloomy the lighting became until it was almost pitch black. Damn, Jesus. And finally, the hallway ended in a staircase. Beside it was some kind of plague, though it was unreadable through the darkness. Mikael ascended a single step of the staircase. Wait, this might be important. If it was important, they wouldn't leave it somewhere we couldn't read it. I agree. I don't think we should move on before we read it. Yeah. You're all as bad as each other. Fine, what's your solution then? Because we can't take it with us unless any of you are carrying a screwdriver. It's not a bad idea. What? Check your pockets for anything. A lighter, a torch, some matches. Who carries around any of those things? And even if we did, do you think whoever put us in here would let us keep them? You are carrying matches! At least on another route, you are definitely carrying matches, my dude. Despite saying that, he too began checking his various pockets. Nothing, I'm afraid. I don't have anything either. Slowly, Mika produced something from his pocket. What was that you said? Who carries around those things? A small box of matches. Shut up, I didn't put them there. Well, I certainly didn't do it. Oh, really? Seeing that the argument might continue for a while yet, Dina took the matches from Mika and then struck one against the box, creating a shallow yet warm light. If you two have finished, it says... They instantly quieted down and gathered around Dina. Above, 2 doors you will find. To escape, you must split evenly. Choose not to, and your time remaining will halve. Lucky we stopped to read that, huh? Yeah. The group, now all the wiser, ascended the staircase together. Nina led the way, with Nini close behind her. Mikael took up the 3rd position while Seth was last. He turned around, looking down the empty corridor. For some reason, the house seemed awfully lonely all of a sudden, like the group had brought a little bit of life back to it, but now that they were continuing onwards, it was double as empty, double as abandoned. Inadvertently, Seth reached for his chest where his heart sat. It felt empty too. It happened before Seth could even realize what he was doing. Whether he'd slipped or stumbled or step had broken, he didn't know. All he knew was that Mika was walking a few steps ahead of him moments before, and now he was caught safely in his arms, hugged close to that empty spot in his heart which suddenly felt bursting with life. Yay! Yay! Thanks, sorry, I think I tripped or something. For once, Seth found himself dumbstruck in such a way he didn't have a single thing to say. Not even a joke. It's no problem. Seth, you and me... Hello, or to Seth? Sebastian? We know each other, don't we? Did I hit you in the head when you caught me? My bad.
Seth, Mika, are you two okay?
Seth's heart beat loudly in his chest to the same rhythm as his head began to throb. No, my head's... Well, not exactly fine, but you didn't... I'm sure we know each other.
Did you fall? You have to be careful in the dark.
Let me go already, jeez. You're starting to embarrass me with how hard you're staring. Bruh, come on. I mean, to be fair, he was super upset last time. He was super upset because we had apparently forgotten about him, so now we get to experience the exact same thing. Like, he does not remember anything about us, it seems. Reluctantly, Seth finally let Mikael go, and the two rushed up the staircase to meet with Dina and Nini, who were peering down at them in worry.
I'm glad you're both okay.
Me too. The fuck is this?
Oh, Nini, you can come with me. Really? Yay!
Wait a second. Is there a problem? Well, I guess not. Good. Then we're all sorted. I'm sure we'll be back together soon enough. Make sure you two behave. Yes, ma'am. No need to worry. I'm always on my best behavior. Are you now? The two girls took the door to the right. It didn't shut behind them. If they wanted, they could have followed after them. Instead, they turned to the door on the left. The atmosphere between the two men had turned slightly awkward. Guess we're taking this door. Guess so. He made no move to enter. Unless there's something you wanted to say to me? Something to explain that picture in my head? You calling out my name, clinging onto me. Where did that come from? What? I don't have anything to say. Just hurry up. He turned his back on Seth and crossed into the room. Guess not. No. They shielded their eyes as they walked into the room. Although it couldn't be described as bright exactly, some light was finally present. Enough so that Seth found himself feeling overly self-conscious, which was particularly unlike him. Some kind of dining room. There's even still food out on the table. And also, apparently, yeah, the dining room. Okay, because we need to finish this here. We're gonna be locked out of this in like a few seconds anyway, but we need to finish this so the game registers it as complete. And now we're gonna jump out of the dining room and back to finding a light, because now we know he has matches, which means we can get a different, there we go, we can get a different thing here. So sorry if it's gonna be confusing, but now we're in the factory again. Well, we got our first ending, which was losing everyone in this dark tunnel, but now that we know he has matches, we should be able to get some light in here. Mikael, why don't you light one of those matches? Did you hit your head? I don't have any matches. You do, in your pocket. No, I don't. The sound of his hands wandering from pocket to pocket stopped, as if he'd found something. What the hell? I didn't put those there. Why would I carry matches?
Maybe you just don't remember.
I'd remember. Would you? Would you though? He struck the match against the box. A moment later, and a small light illuminated their faces. Hey, give me one too. Whatever, fine. Mikael struck another match and handed it over reluctantly. You, how do you know about these? This is the timeline where Dina and Mikael introduced themselves as siblings, so who knows how true that is. You were the one who told me. You found those marshmallows, remember? Wait, when did that happen? That wasn't... Who?
Sevilla, you okay?
At some point his head had begun to throb again. I'm fine. I think I was just confused. I don't know how I knew. I thought you told me, but that couldn't have happened. We just met. Unless you were the one who dragged us in here and you dumped them on me beforehand. Do I really seem like the evil mastermind type? Maybe only acting like an idiot. Or maybe you did it. Or her. Or Nini. Do you want to adopt each other or get out of here? I can do both. Come on, Nina.
Mika, wait.
The light started to shrink as he left ahead of Nini and Seth with Dina by his side.
Why is he being so mean?
No clue. But I guess he's just scared and worried for his sister. We better hurry before we lose them. Guilty until proven guilty, testifies, yeah.
Sevi,
you okay?
did you put those matches there?
I don't think so. But it's not impossible, I guess, if I've forgotten.
I trust you.
Seth smiled at the little girl. She held the front of her dress carefully, as if it didn't belong to her. Thanks, Nini. I trust you too. It's weird. It's like I remembered him telling me about them. Do you think I'm going crazy?
Maybe you can see the future.
Wouldn't it be helpful if that were possible? Maybe I would have avoided getting stuck in here. Seth ruffled Nini's hair. You're a good kid, you know that? Your parents must be proud of you.
I don't have any parents.
Oh, she doesn't say anything this time. Okay. Hey, we're a team, aren't we?
A team?
Yeah, like those two. They're a team, so we can be a team too.
Who's the sidekick?
Me, of course.
Really?
That's right, so that girl. Seth pointed down the dark corridor to where they could see Rina, her arm linked in with her brother's. She hasn't said much except Mika, Mika stop, Mika no, right? I think it would be good if I could talk to her one-on-one.
In case she knows anything?
That's right. See, this is why I'm your sidekick. So, when we find a place with some light, you go distract Mika while I'll grab her. Sound good?
Yeah, I can do that.
Now we have a plan. They quickly caught up with Dina and Mikael, who were speaking quietly, barely above a whisper. Do you miss us? What, you didn't get lost back there already? What a shame. He missed me, how sweet. Wait a second, look. Just up ahead, light spilled out from the gaps in the door, from the gaps in a closed door. The four sped up, desperate to escape the darkness they'd found themselves in for so long. Seth pushed against the door, waiting to find it locked, but instead it swung open with ease. Oh? Another funky background. Despite not being particularly bright, what little light that was inside the room burned their eyes. The room was made of cement, significantly smaller than the last and covered in graffiti. In it sat a couple of chairs, haphazardly thrown around. The light seemed to be natural. Far up near the ceiling were small, dark windows far out of reach. Even if they wanted to try smashing these ones, there was no way to get up that high. At least none that Seth could see. Neddy, Nini? She nodded as if she was given a mission of grave importance.
Mika!
What do you want? And don't call me.
Mika, come with me.
Hey, wait! Nini grabbed him by the arm and pulled him to the other side of the room, a wide smile on her face. Phase 1 complete. Good job, Nini. I won't let your sacrifice be in vain. Hey! I wonder what that was about. Poor Mikael. He isn't very good with kids. Are you worried about something happening to Nini? Oh, absolutely not. He won't hurt her or anything. I'm more worried for him. She seems very excited. Nini jumped up and down in place, holding on tight to Mikael. He looked around desperately, as if waiting for someone to come save him. So, since we're alone... I'm sorry, but I don't feel that way about you. What? No, you! And we already just... He really cared for you, you know that? Earlier, he made me promise that if anything happened to him, I would help you escape. We haven't met before, have we? No, I mean, I don't think so. Are you sure? How did you know about those matches? You wouldn't believe me if I told you. What if I said I would? What if, instead, you pass everything I say on to your brother? She looked back to Mikael. He was still getting almost tortured by Nini, who was now running circles around him. I don't tell him everything. I had a memory of him telling me about them. I don't know where or when, but he pulled them out and showed me. That's how I knew. So you think you've met before? I have no clue. Okay. I believe you, and I trust that you're not the one who put us here. That easily? What if I'm a very good liar? I also trust my brother's judgment of you, you know? A little bit of an airhead. You're a smart woman. Since we're both so trusting of each other now, will you tell me anything you know? It's not much, but it's something. Mikael and I woke up in a closet. There's a joke to be made there. Nina shook her head and continued her story. Truthfully, I was the one who woke up first. I rushed over to Mikael. I didn't even know if he was alive. But I found him sleeping. I was relieved, so I sat with him for a while. In his sleep, he whispered Sev. I didn't know what it meant until you introduced yourself. He knows me? I don't know. That's all he said. I gotta talk to him. Wait. Let me talk to him first. Right now, well, he's probably not in a great mood. Child, go annoy someone else. Anyone else.
Wait, Mika.
Sebastian, take your thing. It's kinda weird when you say my full name. I feel like I'm in trouble. You are. Behind his back, Safe gave Nini a thumbs up. She repeated the motions, a large smile on her face. Mika, why don't we start searching for a way to continue? What? Everyone's finished wasting time now? He didn't harass you, did he? Not at all. Good. As the two left to look around the room together, Seth's eyes drifted back to the timer. 1 hour, 20 minutes. That's a lot of time. I mean, God knows how long we're gonna be stuck in here, how many puzzles there are, but 1 hour and 20 minutes, that's a pretty long time. We had way less time in some of the other rooms. Nice job.
I tried to keep him distracted for longer, but he came back.
That's perfect. I got some more info out of Rina too. We'll work all of this out and be out of here in no time. And find out what Mikael is hiding from me along the way.
When I was annoying, talking to Mikael, I tried to look for the passport, but I didn't find anything.
The room is pretty bare, isn't it? Seth walked through the middle of the room looking up. The ceiling was at least 2 stories high. We're missing something. What was that? Nini, don't move. Under Nini's foot, a metal plate had pressed into the floor as she'd stepped onto it. Uh-oh.
What is it?
Just stay still for a second.
It's not a bomb, is it?
Oh gosh, she said it. Did you say bomb? Where? Calm down, calm down. It might not. Might. There's easier ways to kill us. Why bother putting us through this if they're just going to blow us up in the end? It's some kind of pressure plate. She has to come off of it.
I'm scared.
Better just rip the band-aid off. Nini, take my hand. You trust me, right? At once, she took his hand and he pulled her off of the metal pressure plate in a way, shielding her body with his own. When nothing happened, he turned back around. All of that for nothing? Did you want it to be a bomb? Well, no, but it's a little anticlimactic. Savior complex much? Mika. Nina elbowed Mika in the ribs gently, nudging him forward. Do I have to? Yes. Maybe she wasn't heavy enough. Like, it clicked, sure, because it's some kind of pressure, but maybe she wasn't heavy enough. Sorry, I was wrong too. Yes, too? I accuse you of bringing us here. No need to force yourself. See, I didn't need to apologize. Yes, you did. Another loud metal click came from the plate as it split in half, revealing something hidden. A letter and 3 unmarked envelopes. Oh. To receive the passport, you must play 2 truths, 1 lie. Choose one person to be the guesser. Oh god. Is this supposed to be a joke? Treating us like children, sorry Nini, and making us do this shit. Whoever set all this up must be watching us laughing his ass off.
Sevi should do it.
Me? Why?
I think you know everyone the best here.
Oh, she means a random memory. Well, if everyone's fine with it. Works for me. Yeah, whatever. Thanks for your confidence. Carefully, Seth flipped over the 3 envelopes. Each one had neat, careful letters on it. Nina, Nini, and Mika. Wait, where's mine? Well,
Well, you're not playing, are you, Sevi?
I guess not, but how would they know that ahead of time? Think about it later. We're running out of time. Right, so how do we do this? Guess I'll just go first. He opened his envelope, holding it inside close to him to stop anyone else from seeing what was on it. My favorite color is blue. That's a lie. Wait a second, this is stupid. All of these are...
Shh, Mika, if you spoil it, we might get punished or something.
I don't have a little sister. And I'm in love with someone. Okay, but we know his favorite color is purple, so that would mean the other 2 are the truth. He's in love with someone and he doesn't have a little sister. And I mean, to be fair, Lina is only on this one apparently his sister, so that's also a lie. What's true and what's a lie? Wait, and which one do I choose? The lie? I hope I have to choose the lie. My favorite color is purple. Your favorite color? It's not blue. Looks like I'm right. That's not right. Huh? Is this bullshit? I do have a little sister. She's standing right there. And in love? Bullshit. I don't love anyone. I don't know. The game says you're wrong. The game is wrong. I'll go next. Someone related to me is here. I'm afraid of the dark. And I don't know how to use a computer. Oh. We know she's afraid of the dark. Someone related to her is supposedly here.
Hi ho, good evening.
Are you home now? Someone related to her is here. They could be trying to misguide me by saying, oh yeah, you know, Mikael and her are brothers in this one. But I'm guessing it's about the whole dead thingy from the end of the church thing, so Seth being here would count for that, so the I don't know how to use a computer thing would be the lie. Right? She doesn't know how to use a computer. How about you? Yeah. What Mel's saying, I'm like slowly turning into a puddle myself. But it's okay. I have a great... How much is that actually? I have a large serving of bubble tea, so I'm good. Which is it? The lie is that she doesn't know how to use a computer. One by one, the questions started popping up on the screen. Lena considered each carefully, taking her time to answer each attentively. You do know how to use a computer. Right, in the train! Of course, she used one in the train. Ah, I'm stupid. So that's a lie. Good job, sir.
It's your turn, Nini.
Oh. Her small hands trembled as she opened her envelope.
I'm 8 years old. I have a family. I've never been to school before.
What? These are horrible. I suppose she could be 8. She told us that she's 8 years old. But her family situation is different in each route. We have not heard of her going to school, ever. But she has said... Huh. She has a family, she's been to school, in fact, now just being older than time. No, I don't... Well, 8 years old is definitely the truth. That's not a lie. I've never been to school before. I mean, would you consider a family? Would you consider the people that forget you in the middle of fucking nowhere or the supermarket or whatever a family? So maybe her having a family is the lie? In one word, she said she did not have a family at all. I'm gonna go with the family thing because I don't know about the school. She's never talked about school before, I think.
I don't have any family.
I don't want to say it. You don't have a family? So that's a lie. She's never been to school. Why? Nini looked away. The ding that Self was correct seemed to weigh very heavily on his soul. Nice. Nini... This is bullshit. Seriously, all of mine were fake. The proof is right there. He pointed to Lina, who seemed to be mirroring Nini at that moment. Her gaze seemed lonely. Lina, tell them. Tell them it's wrong.
Mika, there must have been some mistake. You're my brother.
See? Does it really matter? If we're one step closer to escaping, then I don't care what lies I have to listen to. A click came from the spot in the floor where the envelopes and letter had appeared. When the group looked towards the noise, a single scrap of paper had appeared. But before Seth could kneel down to pick it up, Nini had already taken it into her hands.
Sorry.
She pulled it towards the door, inserted the code, and squeezed through the door as it opened before Seth could even move to react. Hello? Shit. I'm going to go find her. Seth, we'll catch up soon. Hello? The corridor was long and quiet, but fortunately not nearly as dark as the last one. Seth scanned around in search of where Nini could have gone, but everything was quiet. Far too quiet. Oh no. He could hear his own heartbeat, his own quickening breath, his own pounding footsteps as he ran as fast as he could muster. She's just a little girl with no one else to look out for her. It's too dangerous here for her, especially alone. 1 hour was left on the clock. Where could she have gone? If I was her, where would I... What? Hush, hush, little lamb? A gentle voice came from behind a pile of wood and metal scraps. It sang a tune both incredibly sweet and incredibly sad. A song of simple pleasures, sunlight on your face, a home-cooked meal waiting for you, walking by yourself surrounded by nature. A song of sadness, of loneliness, of a lifetime of regret. A song for someone so very lonely. Seth approached quietly, then ducked down to crawl into the space she was hidden in. Her song came to an end, and all that remained was a soft whimper at wet cheeks. Nini sat huddled into the corner in a ball. Her eyes rose to greet Seth as he sat down beside her, but she made no move to say anything. That was a pretty song.
It's my secret song. Only I know it. That's not true.
Nina also knew it. When we sat with her to die, she also sang this one.
Well, now we both know it.
I won't tell anyone. It can be your secret song.
I want to share it with you.
Okay. Oh, a secret song. Do you want to tell me where you learned it?
I made it up.
Really?
Yeah, when I was all alone, I wrote it to keep myself company.
Watch the song be known to someone else on every route.
Sevi, actually, my family didn't love me.
I'm sure.
They would leave me for weeks in an attic. My grandma's attic. She would only come up to leave me food. I cried and told her I wanted to see my parents, but she said they didn't want me anymore. They hated me. But then one day they came and picked me up. I got in the car with them. I was so happy, but they didn't say anything. They wouldn't even look at me. We kept driving until it got dark. I was so sleepy. I closed my eyes. Then when I opened them again, my mom pulled me out of my seat and left me there.
They left you there?
It was somewhere I'd never been before. Shit. Then I was taken to an orphanage. The police tried to find my parents, but they already left the country.
Hello? I mean, bad ending time first? What can you say to someone that's been through all of that in such a short amount of time? She's so young. Too young. Nini... Oh, shout! It was only a quiet creak, one I would have been unsuspecting if the corridor had not been entirely silent. Seth quickly grabbed Nini by the arms and pushed her out from behind a pile of rubble and metal. But he didn't move fast enough himself. Ooh! With another creak, this time louder, a metal pole used to support the ceiling fell first, hitting Seth in the leg.
Sevi.
Go get the others.
Okay.
His leg throbbed in pain. It felt as if someone had gone at it with a bat. He tried to stand, to move, but he couldn't. Just as in the distance, he could see Nini running back alongside Lina and Mika as it happened. The ceiling, minus a support beam, began to collapse, faster than either Seth could move or the other three could run. At first there wasn't any pain. It was more of a blazing hot feeling. But as that faded, the color began to drain from his face, and the heated feeling became agony.
Sevi.
He was pinned to the ground. He couldn't feel anything below his waist. He tried to move, to escape, but the weight was too much. Shit. What remained of the ceiling was now pinning Seth to the ground. His vision was hazy, with spots of red. Whatever the other three were shouting to him, he couldn't hear anymore. Booming, thundering, his heart beating so fast it might explode was all he could hear now. Go. Keep going. Nini shook her head violently. Her cheeks were damp with tears as she tried desperately to pull away the debris to free Seth. They all tried, but it was too much, it was too heavy, and Seth was losing blood too fast. His head fell to the ground. Before his eyes closed, the last thing he saw was Nini, thrashing desperately as Mikael and Dina scooped her into their arms and continued down the corridor. Damn, what the fuck? Okay. You don't know how to comfort someone and suddenly you fucking die. I do know what to say, apparently. You know, in times like this, there's something you can do. Really? Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Everything will be okay. The dawn will break and tomorrow will come and you'll be okay. Because you're strong and kind and hardworking, we'll be okay together. You promise? Pinky promise. Seth held out his pinky and Nini looped in her own.
Sevi, would you still be friends with me if it was my fault we're here?
Is it?
I don't know.
Nini, nothing that's happened is your fault. You're not to blame for any of this or any of what came before this. We'd be friends no matter what, alright? She didn't have the words to respond to Seth's earnestness. She simply wrapped her small arms around him and buried her face in his shoulder. There you guys are. We were worried about you. You were. We were. Mika looked away from Lina. Obviously, the two still hadn't gotten quite over what happened earlier yet. Whatever, we found the next door, so hurry up and help us find the code. Is that okay with you, Nini? She wiped at her eyes with her sleeve, then nodded. Yeah. Seth stood first and held out his hand to Nini. She took it, quickly rising to stand beside him. 40 minutes left. There's no more time for sudden outbursts, emotional episodes, or stupid jokes, you hear? Are you talking to yourself? I'm not going to dignify that with a response. But by saying that, you've responded. Doesn't it just prove I'm getting to you? This guy can't shut up for 1 single second. Just shut up already. Look, up ahead. That's the room we found. How does it look? Well, you have to see for yourself, I think. That doesn't bode well. They passed through a metal doorway and out onto a platform of sorts. Oh, ooh. It's over there, see? On the other side? Right. Over the gap, which would make you fall a couple of stories and break your legs. Cool. Of course it is. And there's a hook in the middle. Brilliant. We have to swing on it and jump across. Nice. Easy platforming. Is it really the only way? No ladder anywhere? None of the other rooms have anything useful? Not that we could find. This is it. We have to swing across? What should we do? There's not much choice. No, there's not. Alright, I'm up first. Wish me luck. Seth, wait. He took a few steps back, then ran and jumped. His hands caught the metal hook, which was luckily not sharp, and he swung, building momentum. Just a second later, and he landed on the other platform. Remember what I told you before, Nini? Be brave. I'll catch you. Is this really a good idea? Dina, it's the only option. Sorry, I just noticed. I know you got... You can't see it because the chat is in the way. Oh my god, hold on. Hold on. Can you see the little yellow sign up there, like above my head? Which says, something, something. I'm guessing it says Achtung. I don't know. Anyway, I just noticed like, it's German. That's about it. It's German. So wherever they took these background pictures and then sent them through, I don't know what kind of filter this is. It's like, Yellow sign, yes. Mika's face twisted in surprise. Even he himself was not expecting an outburst directed at his own sister. Sorry. Nini closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and Seth could have sworn he saw her mouth, everything will be okay. And then she jumped. Seth's heart fell into his stomach. The moment she flew through the air seemed to go on forever. Time only returned to normal as she caught hold of the nook. She swung, and then swung some more, then finally went catapulting towards the opposite platform. Her feet hit the edge of the platform, but it wasn't enough. She teetered over the edge. Before Seth got hold of her arms and pulled her away from the drop. She smiled wildly. I knew you would catch me. I wasn't so sure for a second there. Nina and Mikael both made the jumps themselves smoothly. Perhaps after seeing such a young child accomplish it, they felt more confident. Alright, I hope none of you left anything on the other side, because we are not going back. If only we left you over there, it'd at least be a lot quieter. Oh, I have a very loud voice. I'm sure you'd still hear me. What's this? It looks like some kind of list. What kind of list is this supposed to be? They're just random words. Maybe there's some kind of code in them. A phone, a QR code, a password. Doesn't someone have a phone? Mikael, give me your phone. What are you talking about? How the hell do you know everything I'm carrying? You're still suspicious of Nini? Yeah, a little bit. No clue, but can we argue and possibly have a fist fight about it after we escape? Tick-tock, time goes down. Time's going down. Whatever the passcode is, it's fine, I got it. Let's start searching for these words. You're more of an idiot than you look. Do you think I have a signal? Don't you think I would have called for help if I did? For some reason it doesn't matter. I know it will work anyway. It's worth a try. Ooh, seeker. Chicken, square, concrete, nail, and grass. Can I... Okay. Cool. Fascinating. Okay, let's see. Chicken. Ah, okay, wait. That gives me an O and a P. I wonder if it's important where they are. It's like 1, 2, 3. Then there's nothing, and this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Square. Okay, second place. And also 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Concrete. Ugh, I can't type. Concrete. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And fourth place. Another E. Okay. I have no fucking clue what any of this is supposed to mean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Also 8, 9. Okay, and grass. So many E's. What the fuck do they want me to do with all of that? Okay, so what we have right now is E, an O, another E, and oh my god, another E, P, an N, S, A, another S, and an M. I'm not good at anagrams, by the way. P with 3 E. Peen. Some... Oh, I'm fucking stupid. Okay. Yeah, I got it. There we go. There, the answer is... Wait, seriously? Open sesame. For fuck. Lina elbowed him in the ribs again. Forget these stupid puzzles. All these passwords are something a child could have come up with. Maybe it was a child that came up with them. Perhaps we should be thankful they aren't more difficult. Thankful? For any of this? Not a chance. Okay, this is good. You two argue, I'll go do all the work once again. Seth ignored the bickering and approached the screen. It awaited his answer. With one swift motion, he typed in the answer. What a stupid password. Whoever set this up is really dumb. Okay, the door's opening. That's enough. Chop chop through the door. You can pick and run at the same time. With all of these...
Penny minutes left.
We must be near the exit. Or there's no exit. There is, I'm sure of it. There has to be. What if you're wrong? Then we die. Why are you arguing with me so much, Mika? My name's Mika. You're mad about earlier. I'm not mad. You sound kind of mad. You stay out of this. This is a family matter. Is it? You're the one that's so sure a relationship means nothing because of a stupid game. That's not... I'm right. Don't disagree with me just for the sake of disagreeing with me. Do you know how hurtful it is for you to treat me like just a stranger? This is getting awkward. So, Nini, how's it going? Do you think I want to treat you like that? I just want some kind of explanation.
Not bad. You?
I wish I had one to give you. Yeah, alright. God, what did I do to be in the middle of this? Why don't I believe you? Why do I feel like you know something?
Mika... there's a...
Mika.
There's a hole in the ground.
The group drew to a hole. Just in front of them, a sharp piece of metal stuck out from a large hole in the ground. I'd say that's the room we're looking for too. Just ahead, light spilled out from a room beyond the corridor. Natural, bright, fresh light. It felt like a savior. Seth and Nini led the way, speeding towards that light. Mika and Adina, somewhat separated, followed behind. The room was large and bright. Windows faced the outside world, taunting them. And on the far side of the room was a large doorway waiting to be opened. This is it. Look, it leads outside.
We're really going to get out?
Looks like it. Should we do a group hug? Group hug yourself. I'm going to look for the code. Roger that, Mika. He did insist on his name being Mika. Surprising. Mika left the group first. Dina stared in his direction, unsure if she should follow or not, before finally deciding against it. Looks like it's just you and your sidekick again.
I'm the best sidekick ever.
Yeah, you do. Well, we better join the others.
Seth, Sebastian.
Yes?
We're about to leave and go back into the real world, so... when we get out there, will you be my new dad?
Do I look like...
I'll always be a good girl, I promise.
I know. You're a very good girl, and I would be lucky to be there for you. But...
oh.
Well, we have to do it properly. We go back to your orphanage and sort out all the papers. How does that sound?
Really?
Yeah, really. I found it. Where? Come on, we can work it out after we're out there. Let's leave together. Look, it's just a jumble of words.
What if we unjumble them?
Good idea, Nini. 10 minutes. Everyone get thinking now. For once, Seth couldn't argue or make a joke. 10 minutes remained and everything wrote on the singular word. Oh god. Bleh. Oh no. Listen, I managed Open Sesame. I can manage this one, but what? Okay, wait. Let's go by what makes sense in English, like words ending in ed. That sounds like a good start. You already have it. Shut the fuck up. Raptured. But that doesn't make sense. Raptured? Is that even a word? No, I don't think it is. Say the word if you feel the need for a hint. I'm assuming I'm right. Okay, wait. Oh, wait. What about this? We're leaving! 3 minutes remained on the clock when a word clicked in Saf's mind. The code is departure. Once again, as stupid as possible, but I don't care at this point. I'm getting out of here. Mika ran to the door and started typing in a password. A smile naturally rose to Saf's face. We've done it. That was your thought process too. Hi, room. Good evening. How are you? Yeah. Time to... Seth tried to move towards the door, but Nini grabbed him by the back of his sweater. Lina ran over towards Mikael, smiling much the same.
Sevi, before we go, I need to tell you the truth.
Can it wait? She shook her head.
I want to tell you now because I want you to trust me.
Alright, go on.
Before I woke up here, someone came to my orphanage. They told me if I went with them, then I could have a family again.
Wait, what?
They gave me this dress and my nickname, Nini. They brought me here and told me I couldn't tell anyone. So it might really be my fault we all came here.
Nini, who brought you here? This is important.
Well...
Nini looked Saf in the eyes.
It's...
Uh-oh. A scream pierced the air, interrupting anything Nini was going to say. What's wrong? Mika, oh my god, stay still. What? Saf rushed over to the side. Mika was on the ground and through his shoulder, a rusted pole! Seth looked up. It came from the ceiling. Why were we put here in a place falling apart? Why? Shit, it hurts. The door was open, just beside Mikael. He was so close to freedom, he could smell it. We need to get this out of your shoulder now. Or you leave, and then get it out of his shoulder. You got a cappuccino shake. Nice. I'm not sure if I'm winning. I feel like people are dying right now. They both looked towards the timer. 1 minute. She grabbed onto the pole and he groaned in agony beneath her. But no matter how much she pulled, it wouldn't budge. It stuck in something under you. No, let me help.
Me too.
They pulled and pulled and pulled some more, but it didn't even move an inch. You have to go. There's no time. So what? Mikael gets left behind every time he has to die? Shut up. I'm not going anywhere without you. I won't. Tears had long dampened her pink cheeks. You have to. You have to go. Now. But before you go, tell me one thing. Promise me you tell me the truth. She nodded. Are you really not my sister? She collapsed to the ground by his side. Her tears fell to the cement floor, so littered in rubble and trash. You know, not to absolutely destroy the atmosphere, but how are they doing all this in 1 minute? This is like when in Kuroko no Basket there's like 3 seconds left of the game and they're doing like an entire episode still, which is only about that 1 second remaining. Thank you for the short hair redeem. Seth couldn't help but look away as the timer hit 30 seconds. I'm so sorry, Mika. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't want this. I can tell why he loved you so much. Nina, we have to go. Nina shook her head solemnly. You two need to survive. Go. Just leave me here. Nina, I'm not going anywhere. I'm sorry. Nini, we're going.
Wait, Sevi.
Warning. 10 seconds remain. Seth grabbed her hand and ran with all the speed he could muster and jumped out of the open doorway into the fresh air. Outside, the sun was starting to set on an unfamiliar city as the factory behind him became nothing more than a pile of rubble. Ayo, what? Bruh! Oh. The achievement for this one is called It's Time to Go. A little bit. Hey, wait, timer counting down. No, I don't think I will. How far did I get? Okay. Okay. Well, I guess we're back to the main thing then. Covered in a layer of dust so thick that you couldn't truly see the food beneath it. Want a bite? I'll feed it to you. Feed it to yourself. Why would I want to eat that? If you wouldn't eat it, why would I?
Thank you for the 100th time. And the fat thank you. Wow.
There's so many fucking bubbles in this thing, I swear. It's good. With a shake of his head, Mikael walked to the other side of the room. The room went silent as the chatter cut off. I feel like I should say something to him. Seth's eyes scanned over the room. A tall window, which seemed to lead to nowhere, 2 chairs left discarded in the corner of the room, huddled around a heater, and wallpaper that was torn from the wall, revealing the inner workings of the house for all to see. And through a doorway, another shut door with a panel beside it. We need a password to open the door. Whether Mikael heard his words or not, he didn't respond. He was now in the corner of the room, looking down at something. Quietly, Seth walked up behind him and peered over his shoulder. In his hands, a purple stuffed animal, in about the same condition as the rest of the house. He gazed at it with an expression filled with loneliness. How do I know you? What do I say to make you open up to me? Seth knelt down beside Mikael. The black and white-haired man's eyes flickered up to greet him briefly. Okay. Before he went back to staring at the toy in his hands. Your favorite color, isn't it? It is. This time Mikael's gaze held fast to Sev. Sev, Mika, we do know each other, don't we? I think so. How? I've never met you, I'm sure of that. I don't know. But the moment I saw you, I knew that somehow I knew you. It doesn't make any sense. Nope. It's like I I have these memories hidden inside of me, but whenever I try to think about them, my head starts to pound. We need to keep this between us, okay? Why? I don't know who can trust yet. If there really is some history between us, we might be at an advantage if we know about it. Does that mean you trust me? As much as I trust anyone else in a death game filled with strangers. Fine, I trust you. For now.
Thank you for the bet.
I trust you too. Mikael stood, putting some distance between the two men that had very quickly been shrinking. Glad we're on the same page. As much as I'm enjoying this reunion, if you could call it that, we need to get moving. You said we need a password? Yeah, for the door. Now let's find it. I bet the other two are already waiting for us. Especially considering we only have an hour and a half left. If I was a spooky ghost and or kidnapper, where would I hide a secret code? Oh my god. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, hiccups hurt. How can one person be so flippant? Pretty easily. Come on, Mika. Time to escape. It's Mika. You didn't seem to mind a minute ago. Oh, how about this bad boy? Seth walked up to a large cabinet and opened the doors. It was empty. Looks pretty empty to me. Behind it then. No, I'm trying. Help me push. Mika stood facing the cabinet, both hands on the aged wood. Are you deaf? I don't think so. It sounded really painful, yeah. It was. Seth, with nowhere else to go, stood behind Mika, wrapping his arms around the man to set his hands against the cabinet. Gay people. With a smile, Seth pushed himself onto the tips of his toes and set his chin down on top of Mika's head. Look here, maybe we know each other, but you know we're also complete strangers, right? Do you do this to everyone? Only for special people. No, it's just you. Yeah, I do this to everyone. No, it's just you. Only with you. I don't want to do it with anyone else. Do you even understand what you're saying? Yeah, I do. Just stop pushing already. With a creak, the cupboard was pushed to the side, revealing what was hidden behind it. Another screen that seemed to match the one beside the locked door. Ooh! I think we found what we're looking for. How does this thing have power anyway? The house is in ruins. I don't know. Do I look like an electrician to you? Are you an electrician? No. Huh. Well, you definitely have the look going for you. I'm just going to ignore you. Seth took a step closer to the screen. On it was a simple question. What is Nina afraid of? What? What is this question? How are we meant to know? Oh, that's really easy. What are girls usually afraid of? Monsters? Vampires? Ghosts? That's what you're afraid of. Oh, right. I feel like she told us. Huh? When? Before? Back in the church? Didn't pack you for a religious guy. No, we went through a game just like this. Ah. He stumbled back from the screen, tripping and falling until he hit the ground. Are you okay? Mika rushed to his side, quickly grabbing his hand to help him to his feet, but Seth just shook his head. I'm fine. I thought I saw Dina there in that church. We spoke. The hands lingered. Seth's grip tightened on Mika. Gotta head back.
Okay, thank you for coming by.
I like the diary. Joke. Very good. Then, do you know the answer? Yeah, I do. Seth, still holding Mikael's hand tenderly, jumped to his feet and approached the screen. He raised his spare hand and started to type the answer with one finger. You don't have to cling on to me, you know? I don't have to, but I feel like if I let you go, I'll lose you again. Again? What, did I say that? Yeah, you said again. Huh, I wonder why. Well, no time to dwell on that. Hey, wait. Answer time. Sebastian. What is Zeno afraid of? The dark. Dark. There. Easy. Oh, it changed. How old is Nini? Maybe 5 or so? Have you ever actually met a 5-year-old? She's got to be older than that. I don't know, I'm not the one with memories that seem to answer all of our questions. She's... The pain traveled from the back of his head to the front, behind his eyes, as if trying to force him to stop thinking. I got it. Really? Yeah, 8. Exactly 8 years old. The screen faded to black before one word came up in white text. Repeating. Take it easy, we don't want the head of yours to explode. So you do care. It would be too messy to clean up. Despite his cool words, Mikael still hung on tight to Sev's hand. I'll try the password. Wait a second. Weren't you the one going on about not wasting time? Thanks. Wait, what did I do? Stuck with me, even though I'm this insufferable? Out of the two of us, I'm definitely the more insufferable one. Guess we're a good pair then. Guess so. The two approached the door that would hopefully lead them closer to the exit to the nightmare they'd found themselves in. Beside it, a screen similar to the last, though smaller, waited a passcode. Here goes nothing. Wait, what was the code? Repeating, right? Repeating. With a small click, the door unlocked. I suppose I'm a genius. Yeah, sure. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? They passed through the door to the room beyond, bickering back and forth like a married couple. You should maybe tell the other two that you managed to open the door, by the way. The hallway beyond was much like the last. We need to find out if anyone else has any weird memories or things they're not telling us. How do we do that? Just walk up and ask? No, stupid. You need to be more tactful than that. Tactful is my middle name. No, your middle name is Tactless. Ouch. Anyway, I'll try to talk to Nini, so you should stick to dinner. Yes, sir. Do you think it was one of them? One of them that what? Knocked us out and dragged us here? Mikael shrugged. It's a possibility. But you trust me. Like I said, for now. As the timer ticked down to a little over 1 hour remaining, the two rounded the corner in the corridor and came face to face with the other pair.
Sevi, Mika.
Nini, oh, I'm so happy to see you. You wouldn't believe what I've been through. Mika's been so mean to me, you know? Hey, the girl gasped.
Really?
Yes, if it's okay, you have to keep an eye on him for me.
Okay, Sevi.
I knew I could depend on you. So brave. Good job in there. You too. At least they gave us some easy questions, huh? Oh, I didn't mean that. Lena nodded down to the interlocked hands. You two seem to have grown quite close in our absence. She giggled lightly as Mika ripped his hand away from Seth's. It's not like that. Of course not. What's going on? You see, you don't need any more of your bullshit. Fine, I won't pry. I'm sure we have all the time in the world to chat about the two of you once we're out of here. It is not like that. It's a little like that. No, it's not. Just a little. No. The two of you make quite the unlikely pair. I give up. Escape yourselves, assholes. Mika sped up, quickly leaving the rest of the group behind, but he wouldn't be alone for long.
I'll go get him.
Nini, wait. But it was already too late. She broke into a run, chasing after the black and white boy. There's really no stopping kids when they set their minds on something, huh? That's true. I'm sure she'd be a lot of trouble for her family in the future. Yeah, I bet. Can I ask you something? She beat me to it. Go for it. I want you to tell me about your life. My life? Before all of this. Please. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Yeah. It's not exciting or anything. I grew up in a little house in a small town. No brothers or sisters. My parents divorced when I was 10. I went to local schools all the way up until university, then I left home. I think I had a neighbor. We were always together. So things are kind of fuzzy right now. So, you've had your fair share of struggles along the way, right? Of course, who hasn't? It's all been worthwhile, right? Yeah, all of it. Every moment. Your turn now. Well, I was adopted when I was 8. Aren't you just the same person, you and Nini, just different ages? Different times in your life? I was adopted when I was 8. My father and I lived in a big house in a field, pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Just the two of us. He would drive me to school every morning and come pick me up, even though it took hours out of his day and I could have got the bus. He would bake for me even though he couldn't cook. Every year he would hand make my birthday cake, you know, and it was always terrible and I loved it so much. He sounds like a great dad. I couldn't have asked for better. I only wish I could have done more for him to make him happier. Because I could tell. He was always so full of sorrow in the moments where the dew would cling to the grass. Because it's like this. It's like this, right? Mikhail dies every time. So far, when we see him, he dies every time. So Seth would be heartbroken and only like has Nini left after all this. So he goes to adopt Nini, grows up with her, or like takes her home, and she grows up. In those hours as the sun rose, he would brighten up just for me, but I could still tell. I'm sure you did enough. She shook her head. When I asked him if it was all worthwhile, do you know what he said? Yeah, all of it. Every moment. Before Seth could think of how to respond, they finally reached an open doorway at the end of the hallway. Beyond, faint voices could be heard. Guess we found them. Nina sniffed, wiped at her eyes with her dark sleeves, then smiled at Seth. Yeah, looks like it. Come on, we better hurry up. The room was large and spacious, and would have once been a ballroom that would rival that of royalty, yet now had fallen into disrepair just like the rest of the house. The walls and ceiling seemed like they could collapse at any moment, and were adorned with graffiti boasting all kinds of colorful language. Further into the room, Nini was hanging off of Mikhail's arm as if he was a set of monkey bars. I'm going to take a look around, okay? Got it. I'll go bother Mikhail. Alone, Seth bounded up to the man and pulled on his long sleeve. Can I take the other arm? No, you cannot. Aw, don't be so cold. Didn't you miss me? Not one bit. If you have the time to play around, then you have the time to search for the next door code. And what you're doing isn't playing around? I don't play around. Sure you don't. The sound initially seemed to come from the stage, as if a phantom band was playing a tune for their arrival. But soon after, the sound moved, as if it came from the very air they were breathing in. It was all around them, that gentle tune. See, I told you. Ghosts. I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable explanation. Ghosts. That's not reasonable. Anyway, we're busy, so maybe you should go look somewhere else. Guess he's not done interrogating her. Yes, sir, you got it, sir. He rolled his eyes and turned back to Nini, purposefully putting his back to Seth. Nina was now to the ground, inspecting something that Seth couldn't see closely. A dance, my lady. Nina jumped to her feet, her eyes filled with surprise. You surprised me. Any other time I take you up on the offer? Rejected, my poor heart. Shouldn't you be asking Mika anyway? Why him? It's not like we know each other that well. Maybe that will change in the future. Who knows? Nina, about your dad. Yes? He died, right? Yeah, not long ago. What will you do after this? After? I don't think I'll be going back home, to be honest. My home might not even still be there, but that's okay. As long as the rest of you are okay. Why would it be gone? I think what's happened here might change everything. Really, it's okay. I'll be fine. Wait, if we change the outcome here and make it so Mikael survives, wouldn't we still be able to adopt Nini? Would that change her life? If she grew up with both of them? Would she cease to exist? Wanna come with me then? I don't think it's that easy, but I do appreciate the sentiment.
Nina, Sevi, Mika found something.
Mika crossed his arms as if he'd given up on insisting his name was Mika. It's some kind of math game thing. I don't know, I've never been good at math. Wood! He held up what looked like a tablet covered in dust. Seth took it from him and blew off the screen. Huh. Looks like we need to add up to 25 and 50. This should be a piece of cake.
Are you good at math, Sevi?
Nope. He's not even good at math and he's like, oh, there should be a piece of cake. Fuck off, bro. I have to do the math. Give me a break. Maybe I should. No, now I feel like I need to prove myself. Come on, Sebastian, you got this. Fucking what? Oh, I need to go a path that adds up to 25. Ugh. Disgusting. Bet this is gonna spell something out. Very likely, very likely. Ah, wait, this one would work. This. Right? 2, 5. Yeah, that's 25. Okay, and now another 25. Oh, well, that's easy. That's genuinely easy. Woo! Simple maths achievement unlocked. Thank you, game. Easy. You didn't struggle at all. I never struggle. The code is time. Ah, yes, something we're running out of. Let me try it on the door. You're having way too much fun with this.
Thank you for the pet.
You and I have something to talk about anyway. Come on. Whoa, hey. Mika grabbed Seth by the collar, ooh, Jesus. Causing surprised looks from both Nini and Nina. As he dragged the man towards the door, a rumble came from behind. Also, 1 second. I'm running out of drink. Nini! A scream sounded. It echoed through the room, piercing through the melancholic melody. Seth and Mika's heads ripped around in search of what had caused the scream. A section of the ceiling, which was at least 2 stories high, had pulled away from the rest and begun to fall. Seth broke away from Mikael and ran, but he wasn't fast enough. When was he ever fast enough? When could he ever save anyone? But the rubble never hit its target. Instead, it floated 5 feet above her head, her arms raised to shield herself. What? Then it floated back upwards until it reattached itself to the ceiling. Nini?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't know.
Calm down.
I'm sorry. Please, I'm sorry.
What just happened?
Nini. No, don't call me that. I'm sorry.
The fuck? With speed, she ran towards the locked door, inserted the code, and dashed through the now open door. What the hell was that? I don't know, but doesn't matter right now. We need to find her. Nini. Maybe Nini is an eldritch being. The hallway beyond the ballroom was much larger than the last. Various doors set open, leaving their contents free for anyone to examine. She could have gone anywhere. Let's split up. If we don't find her in 15 minutes, we meet up back here, okay? On it. I knew it! She's not 8 after all. Dina left first, dashing into one of the rooms. Seb, about Nini? We'll talk after, okay? Fine. Just be careful, okay? They call me Careful Sebastian for a reason. No one calls you that. Shut up. No one calls you that. With a laugh, Mika ran in the other direction to Dina. Alright, where would you be hiding, Nini? So she is responsible for all this? Maybe. But why? This happened before, didn't it? You ran away and I found you. And you were singing. Hush, hush, little lamb. Seth hummed a song of simple pleasures. Sunlight on your face, a home-cooked meal waiting for you. Walking by yourself, surrounded by nature. A song of sadness, of loneliness, of a lifetime of regret. A song of the past and the future. And in response, a small voice sang back towards him. It was tiny, fragile. The voice of someone broken from years of being hated and shunned. But today she would be none of those things. Seth made his way down the corridor and turned the corner. But also, if Nini and Dina are the same person, it would make sense that it's her own song, she knows it. And there she was, huddled into the darkness, trying to make herself as small as possible.
Stay back or I might hurt you.
You would never hurt anyone, Nini.
I've hurt lots of people. My mommy, my daddy, my grandma.
That's not true. They are the ones who hurt you. Seth slowly approached, keeping his hands up where she could see them, before he knelt down next to her. Quietly, he wrapped his arms around the young girl. In turn, she repeated the motion, her head buried in his shoulder. I'm not scared of you.
Are you sure? You promise?
I pinky promise. Do you want to tell me what happened back there?
Sometimes things like that just happen, but I can't control it.
You can turn back time. She shrugged and pulled away.
No. It's why mommy and daddy didn't like me.
They didn't deserve a good daughter like you, that I'm sure of. You grew up in an orphanage?
How do you know?
It's hard to explain, but I have a feeling that you and I were destined to meet, Nini. Seth's eyes went to the time remaining, 40 minutes. How about this? Once this is all over, why don't we live together? No more orphanage. If you want, that is. I can't promise I'm the most dependable person. Her eyes lit up as if the words that escaped his lips were magic.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
Seth stood from his place and held out his hands to the young girl, who instantly took it and sprung to her feet.
Nina was right after all.
About what? There you are. Oh, thank God you found her. What happened to meeting up in 50 minutes, asshole? You made us worried. I said if we didn't find her, we'd meet up in 50 minutes. I found her. Don't get particular with me. Oh, excuse me.
Sorry, Nina.
Nina smiled at her. It's okay. Are you alright? Seb is not wrong. He's not wrong. Nini nodded furiously.
Sev is going to be my new daddy.
What? Maybe she's an 8-year-old Eldritch being. She's not been doing this for very long yet. How lovely. Nina, can you take Nini with you and keep going? I need to talk to Sev. Nina looked towards Sev, who nodded. She seemed reluctant, but eventually she sighed and nodded herself. Okay. Nini, why don't we have a chat?
Okay.
Don't take too long, okay? The two left, rounding the corner and heading towards the next room. You're keeping something from me. What? I'm not. You are. Before, you said you didn't want to lose me again. Why? There's nothing. It happened so suddenly, Seth didn't even have the chance to register what was even happening. One moment they were a foot apart, and the next Mikael's lips were against his gay people! Mikael's eyes were shut tightly, his eyelashes quivering against his skin. He held on tight to Seth's collar, refusing to let him go. And so Seth sunk into the embrace. He closed his eyes, giving himself over to the feeling that was washing over his chest. Mikael's lips were soft against his, warm like a summer's morning, comfortable like they simply belonged there. Mikael's hands trembled as he clutched tighter, as if afraid that if he let go of Seth, he would disappear. The fluttering of Seth's stomach hadn't subsided as Mikael finally pulled away, gasping for breath. Gay people! Other people use BL as a weapon, you use stream material. Psst. It's pissing me off that you know something you're not telling me. What happened to trust, huh? Wait a second, stop. You kissed me? Mikael's eyes darted away as his face became an even deeper shade of red. So, got a problem with it? No problem. Then don't complain or I won't do it again. But why in the first place? You were just yelling at me. Because I felt like I had to, in case I lost you again. Look, I don't know if I'm crazy or if my memories are all fake or... I saw you die. Over and over again. In a train where you and I were best friends. We were on a bed and you hugged me. And then you died. I died. You sacrificed yourself to save the rest of us. And that's not the only time. We were in a church and you hated me for some reason and then you died. Well, we all died. But we're alive. Was there more times? In a factory. We didn't know each other then. You and Nina, you both died. How? How could that be possible? What did you want to tell me about Nini? She let slip that she knows Nina. They met before we were locked in here. And then after we saw what she did back in our ballroom, I was suspicious. There must be some answer here to what's happening. Your guess is as good as mine. What? Oh god, what? Wait, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I just click? Hold on. Do I just click? In what order do they want me to click these? Do I have to start with a specific one? Do I drag them down? Oh, I have to go in a specific order. Okay. So T is the first one. I mean, what's happening? What's happening is that I'm repeating different times. Where the setting is a little different each time. Time. I need an E. Where's the E? Where the fuck is the E? Oh, there it is. Time loop. What is it? You saw what Nini did. We all did. We're stuck in some kind of time loop. Time's just been repeating. We've met each other over and over and over again and watched each other die over and over and over again. You realize how insane you sound right now, right? More insane than usual, that is. But then everything makes sense. Hold on, not quite everything. Why? Why would we be stuck in something like that? That I have no clue about. We need to go find the other two now. Wait. Wait for what? You see, I'm afraid I might trip over in this dark house if we're going to run, so I think for safety reasons we may need to hold hands. You are so ridiculously full of shit. He held out his hands in opposition to his harsh words. Hehe. And Seth took it as they broke into a run. They followed the corridor, twisting and turning, checking every doorway for the pair. And finally they felt it. A breeze escaping out from a door at the end of the corridor. To the pair that were used to the stale air already, it felt like heaven. I'd say that's what we're looking for. There you two are. It's sooner to proven there.
Sevi, Mika. You won't believe this. We did it. The door is open. We can go. We can finally leave.
Nini, I need to ask you something important, okay? Please, can we leave first? We can talk about it after. It has to be now. Nini, that's not your real name, is it? Wait, what?
Yes, it is.
You can tell me the truth.
My name is Nini.
Is it though? Is it though? Is it though? Your name is Dina, isn't it? Sev, what are you? Nini clutched the front of her dress, her lips tightly sealed. Sev turned to Dina. You're the one doing this to us, aren't you? Putting us through this over and over again, repeating time. She what? Mikael, the frown on his face, went to approach Dina, but Sev put his arm out to stop him. Of course not. I have no clue what you're talking about. Come on, we need to go. Nini, Dina gave you that dress, didn't she? And she told you if you came with her, you would be adopted by someone you met?
No.
And, Dina, you were adopted yourself, weren't you? Sebastian, I don't know what you're trying to insinuate, but it's not possible. Unless you have power over time itself, as Nini demonstrated. You're the same person, aren't you? At his words, even Nini looked towards Dina with surprise. Please, we're so close to escaping. You don't even want us to escape. All I want for you is to escape. All I want is for you to escape. Never mind. Dina yelled out her response, tears in her eyes. Then explain it to us, please. Dina's eyes met the ground. You've always been far too clever for my tricks. Don't blame Nini. She didn't know. I didn't tell her. I won't. Nini finally let go of the front of her dress and ran towards Seth, latching onto him. Where to begin? The start would help. I was only a child when I was abandoned by my family. I ended up in an orphanage, but no one ever wanted me. A young woman with dark red eyes broke into my orphanage in the middle of the night. For some reason I wasn't scared. The gentle look in her eyes told me she wouldn't hurt me. She told me that if I went with her and played a simple game, then I could have a family again. And so I went. And I played the game, and I met my adoptive father. But the person my father loved dearly died that day. My father and I lived a quiet life. We were happy together, but
He didn't speak much about the man he loved much after what happened. Not until he was on his deathbed.
And that's...
You, Dad.
You're from the future?
Yes, that's right.
And the me from the future, I told you to come back and do all of this? Nina shook her head, her long light hair swaying around her as she did so. You told me not to. You told me that the life we had together was enough. But I had no choice. For me to get adopted by you in the first place, I had to come back here and relive everything. Then why is it repeating? Why have my memories been so jumbled? I wanted to find the time where both you and Mikael would survive. But doing so started to mess with our memories, all four of our memories. Even now I'm not exactly sure what is true and what is false. Wait a second, wait. I'm the one he's in love with that died? Yes! Motherfucker, we've literally, all of us have been saying, oh no, we don't want you to die again. Nina nodded solemnly. In response, Mikael crossed his arms and looked away. At the same moment, the timer hit 5 minutes remaining. I've seen tragedy after tragedy. So many times where you nearly survived but then didn't. This time, I think you've really done it. Look, this all sounds crazy. Can we maybe leave, then talk about it some more? Yeah, come on, we have a lot of talking to do. Seth, Mikael and Nini all turned to leave, but Nina held her place. She won't be able to go, though. Because if they all survive, then the future she comes from will stop existing. She can't leave. That would be a paradox of some kind. Nina, let's go. There you go. Yep, there it is. She simply shook her head and raised her hand. Her hand, which had become transparent enough to see all the way through. What's happening? I finally found it. The timeline where you all survived. But what's happening to you? My timeline's disappearing, and me with it. She's going to cease existing regardless. Well, yeah. No, wait. She walked forward, kneeling down in front of Nini, wrapping her arms around the little girl. You're a strong girl, Nina. Sorry for making you lie. I know you don't like lying. Make sure to look after your new dads, okay? Tears overflowed from Nini's eyes as she nodded furiously. I promise. I'll look after them for you. Next, she walked up to Mikael, who was standing stoically, trying his best to look indifferent. That all changed as she wrapped his arms around him in turn. Mikael, Mika, thank you for everything. Of all the times we've met, I feel like we've gotten to know each other better than I ever could have imagined. Now I understand why my dad loves you as much as he does. She took a step back from Mikael, who had tears overflowing from his eyes. Thanks, Nina. Lastly, she approached Sev, but before she could hug him, he had already embraced her first. Thank you, Dad, for the things you haven't done yet but will, for everything you gave me. I hope this repays even a little bit of the kindness you showed me. No, thank you, Nina. He hugged her extra tight, but she was already beginning to be hard to grasp. I'm scared, Dad. I'm scared of dying, and I don't want to go. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. Everything will be okay. The dawn will break and tomorrow will come, and you'll be okay. Because you're strong and kind and hardworking, we'll be okay together. You promise? I pinky promise. His shoulder had long become damp with her tears. She pulled back and placed her hand against his cheek, gently, tenderly. Thanks, Dad. And with that, she disappeared into the breeze, becoming one with the world around her. Warning. 10 seconds remain. His tears fell silently to the ground as he watched the space she had been only moments ago. Seth, come on, we need to go. For her. Yeah, Nina, Mikael, let's leave. Together. 5 seconds. 4 seconds. The building began to shake and tremble, crumbling around them as they, hand in hand, shot out of the door and into the fresh air. The moon was high in the sky, and a cool breeze reminded the three that they were alive as they collapsed to the dew-covered grass of the outside world. There, side by side, they stared up at the star-filled sky, and each gave a silent prayer to the one that had allowed them this blessing. To not a self, to a would-be sister, to a daughter, to a friend, true and dear. And there the three finally found their future. No, my voice was getting shaky because I tried to emulate their talk. The last talk. Aww. Additional coding. Patrons. Big Mike with lots of eyes. Oh, what a lovely game. What a lovely game. And you! Starter Game was made in 1 month for the Nano Deno Game Jam. 1 month? Please save here if you would like to be able to go back to your flowchart, okay? Thank you for playing Start Again. That's it? I don't even get a CG gallery? Man. Okay, but the game was made in 1 month, that's fair. Bad End would have been Lina disappearing because all died after finding out the truth. For real though, it's like, oh, I finally found the timeline where you all survive. And then it goes like, oh, 3, 2, 1, boom! Noor could also be onomatopoeia for crying. Nya. Nya nya. Aww. I mean, yeah, the Nini dinner thing became, you know, that was really the last point where she started saying, oh, I was adopted when I was 8. That really was the last thing that made it really fucking obvious. Oh, but what a lovely little game. I like it. I like it. And now we're sitting here thinking to ourselves also, oh no, I still have time left. What do I do now?
Thank you for the pat.
Well, I know what I'm gonna do, actually. I'm just gonna get started with the other visual novel that I had planned to start after this one, but still. Aww. The last achievement we got for the game is called Family, and the description says, meet your daughter. Oh. Man. You can't just do that to me, what the fuck? What a cute thing. What a cute little thing. Ooh. Alright. Will we get our ears blown off? Maybe. Maybe not. Game doesn't seem to be very loud. Just gonna switch these around real quick, 1 second. Music volume is not as loud as it could be, that's why. Cute little Aldrich Shaw, the fuck, yeah! Can you hear that? Ah, now it's getting louder. Barely. It's barely getting louder, but it's there. Let me just switch this up real quick. And yep. I can never remember what this game is called. Oh my god. I know nothing about this game either. Just so you guys are aware, I know nothing. I also don't know how to pronounce this one. Now let's see. Let's see if oh, it has a category on Twitch. Surprisingly enough, it has a category on Twitch. That's good. Good for me. Can you hear there's a piano playing, but I feel like you can barely hear it. I can't make the game any louder, I feel like. Oh well. Let's go. It's another blind play. Wait, what does it say here? A two-person dev team working on visual novels and other story-driven games. Oh. Two-person. That's not a lot of people. Let's see. Lonely. Strangely lonely. Those words surfaced in her mind as she gazed up towards the towering trees, the branches extending forever in all directions. They made her feel so small and insignificant, like a frail leaf on the wind at the mercy of wherever it took her. Lonely. There was no other way to describe this place. Oh, I love the art. The art style is a little similar to Start Again, actually. Just a little while earlier, she stepped out of her hired carriage, leaving the main road to explore these woods, and now the game is getting loud. Fuck the hell off. Esther's driver had warned her that the forest was seldom visited. If she ran out of supplies, she'd have to walk back to the road on foot and hope to flag down a stagecoach heading to the city. And that forest is haunted, girl. Dangerous for anybody, let alone someone with the pail. The pail? I wouldn't head in there if I were you, and seeing as it's almost evening, I'll take you back to town for free. But she refused the driver's offer. Turning away from her last hope, it was impossible. The decision would haunt her forever, a hanging mystery of what she might have discovered. No matter how isolated or helpless these vast woods made her feel, she promised herself she wouldn't leave without answers. A light breeze brushed past Esther's cheeks. It carried a fragile scent of spring, though a lingering wintry chill still blanketed the forest. Spring always made her symptoms worse somehow. As everything gathered its energy to bloom and flower, her lethargy only seemed to become deeper and darker. The more vibrant Esther's surroundings grew, the more she felt her energy draining away. Some days she barely had the strength to even move. And yet she couldn't bring herself to hate the season. It hardly seemed fair to be angry at the world for turning its cycles, for life continuing on around her just like it always had. Even now, she still remembered when spring was her favorite time of all. Esther suddenly came to a halt. She felt a strange sensation under her boot. Had she stepped on something just now? Bending down, she curiously patted the forest floor, searching for whatever it was. After a moment, her fingers brushed something small and cold. A key. What was a key doing out here in the middle of nowhere? Puzzled, Esther turned a tiny, shimmering piece of metal over in her palm. No marks, symbols, or engravings. It could have belonged to anyone or anything. After a long moment, she rose slowly back to her feet, slipping the key into her skirt pocket. Perhaps it was a good omen. She'd always had a hard time with superstition or questions of fate, preferring the calm logic of cause and effect to anything unseen. But these days, as the world's reality seemed to grow ever bleaker, Esther found herself hoping for something more. You must needs be going for now. Okay. Thank you for coming by. It didn't really matter whether things like omens or destiny were actually real, as long as they made life a little less unforgiving. Well, I definitely like the art style. With a small flicker of hope in her heart, Esther turned to carry on once more. She had no map, no directions, and almost no clue as to what she was searching for. Only the faintest trail of a possible cure. Whoa. That does look like creepy woods, though. As the hours passed by, all sense of time was devoured by a sea of unending trees. The forest's dreamy springtime varnish faded to a ghostly gloom, the cheerful birdsong replaced by rustling crickets and distant ominous howls. A painful sting suddenly shot across Esther's arm. It yanked her out of her absent-minded wandering, back into the oppressive emptiness of the forest. After a moment, she realized she'd walked too close to the brambles. Warm droplets oozed down her wrist, an uncomfortable reminder to always watch her step. As Esther gazed down at the small welling beads of blood on her flesh, her surprise began to shift into a sense of gnawing doubt. Perhaps she really had gone too far after all. If there really was anything or anyone within these woods, she should have stumbled across it by now. And if the rumors were false, just another folktale made from empty hope, spinning more empty hope in a vicious cycle. Was all of this nothing but a dead end? Had her whole journey been pointless? Would she have to tell them she'd failed? Idiot. Esther muttered aloud, struck by a sudden sense of self-loathing. Those harsh thoughts could be dealt with later, but she couldn't keep stumbling through the darkness so pointlessly. Failure or not, it didn't change where she was now. She had a flint and steel in a satchel, along with a little water and rations. If she gathered some loose branches, at least she could make a fire to keep warm. It wasn't the first night Esther had spent alone in the middle of nowhere, and it surely wouldn't be the last. Slowly, cautiously, she crept through the thick underbrush. The moon's faint glow offered enough light for Esther to find a few branches long and dense enough for a campfire. But every time she crouched down to forage, her fingers searching through the cold, damp earth, it felt like someone was breathing right behind her ear. Esther shook off the ghostly sensation with a deep shudder. It was just the old rumors she'd heard. They were finally getting under her skin. Foolish tales of primeval spirits guarding the forest, devouring the soul of anyone who ventured too deep. Of course, Esther never gave any credence to those stories. Nor would anybody with common sense, for that matter. Ghosts simply didn't exist. Still, the sooner she had a fire, the better. Makes sense? At last, Esther spotted a clearing just beyond the trees. With a bundle of short branches cradled in her arms, she hurried out into the open, anxious to finally set up camp. But as she stepped into the glade and the shadows gave way to shapes, she froze. Why? Ooh! Spooky mansion in the woods. There, right in front of her eyes, A beautiful aged house rose amidst the darkness. It stood like an elusive mirage in a desert, too perfect and out of place to be true. Was it an illusion? Or by some miracle had she actually found the apothecary's estate? Apothecary. I hate it. But surely the place was abandoned. It gave off an atmosphere far too lonely and desolate to be inhabited. Esther could barely discern any of its features, so thick were the shadows that shrouded the house's mountainous shape. A thick, swirling mist consumed the earth around its foundation, seeping across the ground like some poisonous cloud searching for intruders. Like its very presence was waiting to reject her. This had to be it. A place that had evaded all maps, and yet she'd simply stumbled upon it. Something about that idea made a sense of deep apprehension crawl down her spine. In a trance between fear and fascination, she found herself moving across the clearing towards the manor entrance. The pale mist seeped around Esther's boots, swallowing her footsteps one by one. It felt like entering a dream, as if she was slowly crossing the threshold into a different reality. Until she realized that her fingertips were suddenly brushing cold metal. The handles for those foreboding doors loosely grasped beneath her uncertain, trembling palms. Please. The soft, nearly inaudible word left her lips like a whispered prayer. Slowly, gingerly, the handles began to turn, until with a softly beckoning creak, the doors yawned open to allow Esther within. This is not a horror game, by the way. As far as I've seen, it's not a horror game. Inside the house, the scent of musty, aged wood greeted her from the darkness. Just barely, Esther could make out the shape of a stairwell, illuminated by rays of moonlight. Something about it compelled her, or perhaps it was simply less frightening than exploring past the pitch-black archway ahead. After a hesitant pause, she closed the doors behind her. The wind had started howling faintly, casting an eerie echo through the manor's foyer. Slowly, Esther crept up the stairs, wincing at the small creaks that followed her movements. The second floor held a number of rooms, the doors all ominously closed. On a nervous whim, Esther decided to reach for the second door on the right, inching it open with bated breath. The vacant room was a study. As her eyes drifted around the dark space, she could see rows of shelves stuffed with books, a cluttered desk, tables full of dusty alchemy equipment. A study. Esther's heart leapt in her chest. Even though the apothecary was no longer here, what if they'd left some of their research behind? With the light of day, she could comb through these books and papers. Surely there had to be something of use in them. Maybe, just maybe, she had finally found a glimmer of hope to cling on to. Allowing herself a heavy sigh of relief, Esther closed the door behind her and stepped towards a small cot nearby. Cold as it was, at least she'd have a roof over her head and a bed to spend the night on. As if on cue, she felt a wave of exhaustion blanketing her mind. Maybe it was time to take her medicine and sleep. Even a few hours would be enough. Was that a creak? Esther froze, every inch of her body suddenly petrified. I mean, to be fair, you're the one who walked into some random person's building. Wouldn't it make sense for there to be someone else here? Something was right outside the door. A chilling tightness gripped Esther's chest. She couldn't breathe. Every instinct in her body told her to stay utterly silent. Don't let it sense you. Don't get caught. Don't move. Don't... Ooh! Without warning, the door burst open. She had no choice but to look and see. Hi! Not a monster or a ghost. Only a young girl trembling in obvious fright. You're... Who are you? Her fright slowly fading, the girl stared wide-eyed at Esther, still shaking a little. She'd probably been expecting to see a ghost too, and they ended up scaring each other equally. I'm Esther. Esther, that's your name? Esther nodded. And you're real? This isn't a dream, is it? No, I don't think so. An awkward silence followed their strange conversation. Esther found herself wondering if maybe this actually was a dream after all. Really, it almost seemed too surreal to be anything else. After a long few moments, the girl's expression began to soften. She took a small, hesitant step towards Esther, then another and another. I can't believe it. Another person came here, a real girl right in front of me. This is so exciting! Baffled, Esther gazed down at the delighted warm face beaming up at her. My name is Sena. I'm so happy to meet you, Esther. I was getting a drink from the well, so I didn't see or hear you come in. You must have thought the house was empty, right? I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to scare you, but well... Sena let out a small, nervous laugh, toying with the ribbons on her dress. You're the first person I've seen in 6 years. I never expected to find someone else inside the house, especially not in this room. Had Esther heard her right? Sena had been living alone here for 6 years? Was it possible that she was the apothecary the rumors talked about? Apothecary? Ah. Oh! You haven't eaten yet, have you, Esther? You look so tired and hungry. Gasping softly, Sena reached out to clasp Esther's hands between her tiny palms. I'll light the fireplace and you can get warm while I make some supper. That sounds nice, right? Come, let's go downstairs. Alright. Taken aback by Sena's eager offer, Esther hesitantly nodded. Even though she wanted to ask what Sena knew about the cure, her stomach rumbled noisily at the thought of a warm dinner. It wouldn't hurt to wait until they'd eaten shortly. What's the worst that could happen? She poisons you? For no reason? Still holding Esther's hand, Sena led her back downstairs and into the parlor. As soon as she'd stuffed some wood into the fireplace and set it alight, the darkness suddenly lifted, melting into a cozy warmth thanks to the fire's cheerful cracking. Before she really knew what was happening, Esther found herself wrapped up in a pile of blankets, sitting on a couch before the hearth. Sena seemed like a little blur of happy energy, fussing over Esther one moment and hurrying back to the kitchen to check on her soup. Clearly she was delighted to have a visitor. Esther felt a little embarrassed, at a loss for how to deal with this unexpected kindness. Here we are, eat it while it's warm. Before long, Sena was nudging a bowl of steaming soup into Esther's hands. Filled to the brim with brightly colored vegetables and dark broth, it had a delectable scent rich with herbs and spices. Thank you. You don't need to thank me. There's plenty more in the pot if you're still hungry, so don't be shy. Oh, that reminds me. I have to clean the stove before my lamp goes out. I'll be right back. And then she was gone again, her light footsteps pattering over to the kitchen. As Esther gratefully ate her supper, she could see Sena's figure darting back and forth, sipping a bowl of soup with one hand while she scrubbed the stove with the other. At first, Esther found it almost impossible to believe. A small girl like Sena living by herself in the wilderness, taking care of the whole manor. But from the natural, precautious way she seemed to handle everything, it didn't take long to realize she was in her element. Most of the older girls and boys from the city wouldn't be able to last a week out here, without access to any of the normal comforts they took for granted. And yet, even while she toiled to beat the dwindling lamplight in her kitchen, Sena looked as contented as a buzzing bee in a field of flowers. Thank you so much for the pad and the higher time. Thank you. few minutes after Esther finished her meal, Sena wandered back into the parlor wearing a satisfied smile.
Kitchen is clean and you've eaten. I hope the fire got you nice and warm too.
It did. Thank you again for taking care of me.
Oh, please don't worry about it, really, Esther.
Actually, she gave a tiny, sheepish laugh, her pale cheeks turning slightly pink. I already cleaned the stove yesterday, but I was so excited and nervous from meeting you that I had to calm down a little bit. Cleaning always makes me calmer, so I'm glad I have a big house like this. It always gives me lots to do. I'm sure the house is glad to have you too. I really hope so. Beaming brightly, Sena flipped down on the cushions beside Esther, dangling her legs over the sofa's edge. Another short, awkward pause soon followed. Sena fidgeted a little, staring at the fireplace intently, as if she were too shy to start up the conversation again. After a hesitant pause, Esther decided to finally break the silence. She had to ask the question that had burned in her mind from the moment they met. Sena, are you the apothecary that lives in these woods? Esther's words made Sena abruptly stiffen. Where did you hear about an apothecary? In one of the towns nearby. People said there was a hermit living out here, an apothecary who used to live in the city. Somebody who found a cure for the pale. All of Sena's cheerful energy seemed to slowly dissipate. Her gaze drifted down to the floor, lingering there as if anchored by a heavy weight. I'm sorry, Esther. The apothecary... Why the fuck can I not keep saying it correctly? The apothecary is not... It's not me. It's... Sena grasped the fabric of her dress, squeezing it tightly. It was my father. It's true that he had the pale and he managed his symptoms for a while, but he died 6 years ago. Just like that, disappointment shattered Esther's heart. But even more acutely, she felt a sudden pang of sympathy for Sena. How it must have felt to lose her father so young, living all alone in this deep forest. I'm sorry. Sena gave her a small, sad smile, gently shaking her head as if to reassure Esther it was all right. But she offered no other reply and stayed unusually silent, swallowing hard once or twice. I'll leave tomorrow morning then. There's no reason for me to cause you any more trouble. You could still stay here. What? She stared at Sena in surprise, taken aback by the girl's sudden interjection. I mean, stay here to look at Papa's research. He has a lot of papers and books in his study, and journals too, although he told me never to look at them. But Papa spent a lot of time working, and I know he took notes about the pale. So if you stay and read through them, you might find something about the cure, right? Her voice quivering slightly, Sena turned to gaze at Esther with a hopeful, eager smile. Thank you, but I don't want to stay here and be a burden. Oh, Esther, you'd never be a burden. You barely ate anything, you're so quiet and kind, really. Why don't you stay? 6 years ago he died and she hasn't seen anyone for 6 years. Sounds like nobody told Esther about his death. I mean, if his entire existence is only some gossip, how would they know about his death? Like if he never went out of these woods either? Esther gave her a hesitant look. As much as she wanted to accept Sena's kind offer, it just didn't seem right. After all, Sena obviously worked hard to take care of this place, but Esther didn't have any way to repay her hospitality.
Well, if you're going to be very stubborn about it, you can help out with chores during the day and look over Papa's research after.
As if she'd easily guessed the source of Esther's reluctance, Sena gave her a reassuring, cheerful nod.
I have a lot of food and wood stored from winter still, anyway, so it's really fine. Please don't worry about it.
Esther studied Zena's expression, those shining eyes that were all but begging her to stay. At least if she helped out with the work, she'd feel better about spending a week or two here, even if it still struck her as taking advantage of Zena's loneliness. Alright. You sure I won't be burdening you?
Yes, yes. Yes, and positively, absolutely.
Halfway through her delighted cry, Zena suddenly cut herself off with a gasp.
Oh, I forgot. You have it, right? The pail?
Esther nodded, puzzled at Zena's sudden question.
I won't ask you to do any chores then. That wouldn't be fair. Papa told me how awful it always made him feel. He couldn't even get out of bed some days. It must be terrible, being so drained all the time, no matter how much you rest.
It's fine, I can work.
But...
To be honest, the longer I don't do anything, the worse I feel. It's hard to push myself, but it's better than when I don't. It was Zena's turn to hesitate, but Esther offered a small, determined smile to reassure her it was alright. She hated when people pitied her or went easy on her. It bothered Esther even more than the symptoms themselves.
If you're sure then, you know yourself better than I do, it's true.
She giggled, clearly overjoyed that Esther had agreed not to leave.
Then it's a deal? You stay and go over Papa's research and help me out with work during the day?
After a brief pause, Esther dipped her head in silent agreement.
Start tomorrow then. I'm so excited. I can show you the well, the gardens, the stream, the cemetery. We can make flowers and have a picnic and read by the fireplace and...
She trailed off, biting her lip with a dawning look of embarrassment.
Sorry. I get a bit carried away sometimes.
It's alright. For a long pause they were both silent again, but the pause was warmer, gentler, like one between friends. The fireplace soft crackling echoed in the parlor, a comfort against the howling wind outside.
Well, you're probably exhausted, aren't you? Why don't you sleep here by the fire? I can bring more blankets so you can have a good night's rest.
I think I have enough blankets. Esther mumbled, still cocooned in the numerous woolly sheets Zena had wrapped around her earlier.
You may say that now, but you can never have too many blankets. It gets quite drafty in here at night.
Huddling a little deep into the warm covers, Esther offered Zena a small, grateful smile.
Well, if you need me for anything, my room is upstairs, right next to Papa's office. I'm quite tired too, so I think I'll head off to sleep.
With a lengthy yawn, no! No! We've been doing so well. With a lengthy yawn, Zena stretched her arms over her head and hopped up to her feet. The darkness clouding her features earlier had all but vanished, and now she beamed as radiantly as the sun.
Good night, Esther. I hope you have wonderful dreams.
Good night, Zena. Thank you, really. She gave Esther a long, heartfelt smile, one that seemed wise and peaceful beyond her years somehow. After that last look, Zena finally turned away, her light footfalls pattering towards the stairs. Esther watched her go, listening in something of a daze until she heard the bedroom door softly click shut. The past hour almost felt like a dream itself, and Esther half expected to awaken by a shoddy campfire at any moment. Her hopes for finding a cure had been rekindled once more, and now she was reluctant to let her expectations run too high. She could stay here for a little while, going through the apothecary's research in search of any clues, but there was no guarantee she'd find anything else of use. Still, it was the only thing she had to go on. And if there was a chance she wouldn't return home empty-handed, then it was worth giving it a try. And Sena, what a strange, remarkable girl. She'd survived out here alone for 6 years, suffered the death of her father, and yet somehow still remained as buoyant as a feather. Esther found it hard not to be deeply curious about her, and envious of all her whirlwind energy and excitement. It reminded her of a time not so long ago, back when she used to be like Sena. With a quiet sigh, Esther reached down into her satchel. Before she slept, there was one thing she had to do, just like every night. Slowly, Esther pulled out a fine silver pocket watch, its thin hands marking the time. But when she pressed one of its buttons, the back abruptly popped open, revealing a tiny, glistening syringe. Ooh! With a practiced motion, she jabbed the needle straight into her arm. You're not gonna disinfect it or anything before you stab it in? Okay. It stung even more than usual. As the seconds passed, Esther watched her blood slowly filter up through the syringe into the watch's mechanisms. Then, after a long few moments, the flow stopped, and the blood reversed its course, oozing downward back into her body. As it returned beneath Esther's flesh, a dark circle slowly spread around the pierced spot. I don't think that's what you should do, by the way. Just saying. She kept her focus on the watch's face. 2, 5, 8. The hour hand started swiveling forward. 10, 14, 18, 24. The last drops pushed into her vein. So now she's good for another 24 hours. Wincing, Esther pulled the needle free, closing the watch with a hasty squeeze of her palm. This medicine of hers, a marvel of technology they called it, but Esther hated the needle far more than drinking the normal tonic. If only it was easier to bring the ingredients with her everywhere. Right now she didn't have much choice beyond the watch, which injected a potent version of the remedy to her veins once a day. And yet, despite her reliance on the watch, or maybe because of it, Esther longed to be able to cast the twisted thing into a fire like the one before her now. Dropping the watch back into her satchel, she curled up tightly beneath her blankets. The parlor felt colder and less cozy now that she was alone again. But as she closed her eyes, all of Esther's exhaustion caught up with her at once, weighing down on her body like a heavy sheet. Before long, the crackle of the fireplace lulled her to sleep, sheltered from the cold night outside, and all her restless thoughts gave way to a deep darkness. Achievement unlocked, medicate. Another day of rain. Not a strong storm, but a steady one, quietly smothering the house in a downpour that had seemingly lasted for weeks. Dark, heavy drops sluggishly coursed down the window pane, forming jagged patterns that soon dissolved into nothingness. His gaze followed their ambling paths, watching them aimlessly and without pleasure. But there was nothing else to look at. No impulse to pull him out of this empty staring into something, anything that would serve more of a purpose. How long had he been standing here? Bizarrely, he couldn't remember. Had it been minutes? Hours? Was it morning? Evening? How was it possible to tell when the clouds blurred all sense of light and time? Hi! You fell asleep? Good morning! It was only her occasional visits that separated the days for him. That soft, timid, infuriatingly insistent knocking. A reminder that she left a tray of food outside his locked bedroom door. Always followed by an uncertain voice calling out for him, then a long pause before finally her soft footsteps padded away down the stairs. Little wretch. He whispered flatly to his reflection, which only stared back at him with grey irises. He'd hold himself in here to be away from both them and her. Away from her constant smiling, her laughter. Soothing voice. Thank you. Also, thank you. for the posture check and hydrate him. The boundless energy that seemed to be mocking him for his pathetic state. You want a Pikachu? This guy's lamenting how pathetic he seems to be, and you want a Pikachu? I see how it is.
Pikachu. Peka peka. Pikachu.
Oh, that last one was off. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Pikachu.
That guy can... You don't even know him yet! The twisted, ungrateful creature. He should have believed his instincts about her from the very beginning. Huh? What's this guy on about? Who is he even? With an immense, painful effort, he pulled himself away from the window. Leaning on a splintered cane, the man staggered towards the bed, where he collapsed onto the sheets like a puppet with severed strings. As he crawled into a fetal huddle and hugged his arms around his body, he ran his fingers across the sickly protrusion of ribs pressing against his skin, sharp bones contained by only a thin layer of flesh. If he held himself like this, he could feel the hard, slow, arrhythmic beating of his heart. The tightness in his chest made it difficult to breathe deeply, and so his inhales were shallow and jagged. Was it anxiety, his health, or worrying about his health that made his ribcage feel like it was always being crushed? He rolled over onto his right side, closing his eyes, trying desperately to ignore the uneven pounding in his chest. Trying to breathe deeply, to calm himself down, to reassure himself that he still deserved to live. Ooh. Oh, do I get an opening? Ew. We get an openings like the 3 CGs we've seen so far. Some hidden guy. Okay. Management. Ah, okay, it's a 2-person theme, but they hire other people to do stuff for the games, actually. Okay. Okay, cool. A lovely smell, like herbs and flowers, sweet, delicate, and earthy. As Esther slowly forced her eyelids open, the pleasant scent greeted her with the morning sun. She blinked around in confusion. This unfamiliar place. Was she dreaming? What kind of place had she awoken in? But as her mind dispelled its haze of sleep, the previous night's events came drifting back to her. The forest, the manor, Sena. All of it was real. Esther dragged herself up into a sitting position, rubbing at her eyes with one hand. Then her gaze drifted down to the floor, where a small mug sat by her feet. Curious, she bent down to pick it up and realized she'd been smelling the fragrant tea inside. After one sip of the warm drink, she felt instantly refreshed. It was like filling her lungs with cool, crisp morning air, a restorative that washed through and cleansed her system. Is it really alright to ask her that? I don't want to push her, she just looks so tired. I don't know. A soft muttering caught Esther's attention. Glancing over her shoulder, she saw Sena sweeping the floor with a thoughtful expression, lost in whatever she was contemplating. If only you didn't have visitors, Papa. I really could have used your advice. Sena shook her head, sighing wistfully. Oh, you're awake! Suddenly noticing Esther's gaze, she let out a soft gasp and hurried over to the couch, her features quickly brightening into a smile. With both her hands, Sena clutched a broom that had to be twice her size, although she didn't look encumbered by it at all. Hello, Sena. Thank you for the tea. Oh, it's nothing. I hope it hasn't gotten too cold. I can make a fresh pot if you'd like. She's cute. Oh, she's hot. Yes. To both of those. It's fine. You don't have to do that. You don't like other people doing things for you, do you, Esther? I'm sorry. I'll try to be better about it. Esther averted her gaze, somewhat embarrassed by Sena's keen observation and apology. Have you been cleaning since you got up? I didn't hear you at all. Clearing her throat, she swiftly changed the subject. Yes, I have. There's a lot to clean in this big, lovely house, so I need to do a little every morning and evening. You must clean very well. It's like there's a maid living here. Oh, really? A happy flush rose to Sena's cheeks and she bounced on her toes a little. Well, it's not a chore or anything. I love cleaning, actually. Papa worked really hard to repair the house and make it pretty. It was a lot easier to clean when he was here, though. Some of the rooms are a little run down and I don't use them, so I don't dust those as much, but I try my best to take care of the others, even if it's not perfect. Her smile wilted slightly, as if she were disappointed in herself for not keeping the entire house pristine. It's still amazing. Even if I loved cleaning, I couldn't care for this whole place alone. Of course you could, Esther. Sena responded without missing a beat, giving a determined nod and tapping her broom on the floor. Anyone can do anything. Anything they really want to do, that is. They just have to figure out what way is best for them. The other girl's confidence caught Esther off guard. She didn't seem to have a single cynical bone in her whole body. But anyway, I do hope you slept well. I'm sure you must have been very tired. I could see it in your eyes. They were so shadowed. A hint of concern crept into Sena's voice as she studied Esther's face closely. You do look a little better today, though. Not as gloomy. After you finish your tea, shall we go take care of the grounds together? If you're feeling up to it, I mean. I am, yes. And it's the least I could do to repay you. Esther... Sena seemed like she was about to remind her that there was no need to repay anything, and Esther was taking this all far too seriously. Esther was quite used to hearing a response, despite the fact that nobody ever seemed to really mean it. Whatever makes you the most happy, that's what a good hostess would say, I think. Just don't overwork yourself, alright? I feel like you're stubborn enough to keep going until you faint. Alright. After beaming at Esther encouragingly, Sena hoisted her broom up and cleared her throat. Alright, I'll go finish sweeping the kitchen while you drink your tea, then we go out. Oh, it's such a lovely day. I can't wait to show you around. I'm so excited. With a delighted sigh, she rushed over towards the kitchen, her broom swirling across the floor in a flurry of motion. What a peculiar girl she was. Maybe it was to be expected, considering she'd lived all alone for so long. Nobody was forcing her to try and fit in with normal society. For that reason, Esther couldn't really get a grasp on her behavior or her personality. And that made her all the more curious about the story behind Sena's unusual situation. After she finished her tea, Esther made her way to the manor's entrance. Sena, who was already eagerly waiting for her, led the way out into the fresh morning air. As Esther's gaze drifted up to the radiant blue sky, it almost felt like she'd been transported to a different forest. The dark, oppressive atmosphere of the previous night had vanished, transforming once more into a fairy tale shimmer. And with Seina's company, the woods didn't seem quite so vast and daunting, or as lonely for that matter. Aww. Also, yes, I'm sorry. I am on Twitter. It's usually where you get most of my updates. You get more updates on my Twitter actually than you do on Discord, because I forget to actually post stuff like that on Discord as well. Heh. Alright, we're off to the well first. Reaching down beside the front door, Sena picked up 2 buckets from beneath a protective cloth. Although both were decently sized, one was smaller and looked less professionally made, as if an amateur had crafted it. After a brief pause, Sena held the larger bucket out to Esther. In that moment of hesitation, her gaze misted over with a distant look. Shall we? She reached out to take Esther's free hand with her own, holding it gently. On Discord, you get almost daily greetings. That's true. It seemed like a subconscious movement, as if Sena hadn't even realized she'd done it. The sudden warmth of those lightly callous... How do you actually say that? Calloused? Fingers caught Esther off guard. Normally, she always disliked being touched. But curiously enough, Sena's delicate grasp didn't give her the same sense of discomfort. Yes, let's go. Sena gave her a soft, contented smile, although it seemed more melancholy than usual. An unexpected sadness briefly tugged at Esther's chest, and she had the odd sense she'd glimpsed something she shouldn't have. Hello, Lena. Good evening. How are you? Hand in hand, they wandered across the manor grounds, heading for the well out by the garden. Neither of them spoke. Only the sound of birdsong and the light footsteps in the leaves filled the air. You're melting and balding. Oh, that's a mood, though. I feel the melting part. Balding, not so much. I have my hair. Thank you. It seemed strange for Sena to be so quiet, but Esther was a little relieved too. She didn't feel any pressure to speak. Briefly, she wondered if Sena had completely lost herself in thought, perhaps even forgetting Esther's presence. But as if she could somehow read Esther's mind, Sena glanced over towards her. The smile on her face had grown contented once more, most traces of sadness drying up beneath the warm sunlight. As they stepped up to the well, Sena came to a halt. I'll let you go first if you like. She turned to look at Esther expectantly, tilting her head to one side. You do have short hair right now, though. That's true. That's true. Nodding, Esther turned towards the well, scanning over it hastily. It had to be quite simple, surely. All she needed was to tie the rope to the bucket. That was it, right? Surely she could just lower it down afterwards. She wasn't very good at tying knots, though. What if it couldn't hold the water's weight and she lost Sena's bucket down the well? Esther realized the other girl was watching her closely, eyes widening in realization. Have you ever drawn water from a well, Esther? Stricken with a sudden sense of self-consciousness, Esther shook her head. It seemed like such a basic thing to do, and yet she'd never really had the chance. Really? But how do you get water? We have a water pump. The servants are normally the ones who use it. Oh, the servants! Little Miss Rich, are we? My foot fell asleep. One second. Screams. Pain. Pain. Ow. As Esther spoke, she started feeling more and more sheepish. Talking about servants made her sound so privileged and haughty. She hoped Sena wouldn't think less of her for it. Yell at leg. Okay. I'm gonna yell at my leg. Okay. What's wrong with your leg? It fell asleep. Slap it a few times, yeah. I did.
So the water comes right to you and you have servants fetch it so you don't even have to do any work? That sounds amazing. You must be something like a princess or a noble.
Best is to get up. I don't want to get up right now though. She studied Sena for a moment, trying to tell if she was being teased, but the other girl just peered up at her with wonder and curiosity, her gaze sparkling excitedly. Now we're gonna end in a few minutes anyway, so I'm not gonna take a break now. I'm not a princess. A lot of people in my city have servants. We only keep a few, but some families have dozens. Dozens, ah. As if trying to imagine such a thing, Sena closed her eyes, letting out an envious sigh. There must be so much more to the city than what Papa told me. It's like another world or something, isn't it? For some reason, that thought made Esther feel a little crestfallen. A short break in another hour. No, I'm sorry. It's Wednesday. It's a 3-hour Wednesday. Well, even if you were a princess, I don't think it would matter. Her focus returning to Esther, Sena put on a bright, confident smile, like she'd suddenly come to a realization about something. As long as I know where you come from and you know where I come from, we should be able to understand each other easily, right? And it makes me really happy to hear about your home, even if I know I'll never fit in there. The warmth of Sena's smile was contagious. Even if she doubted the other girl's words, they put Asta slightly more at ease. Sena didn't seem like she'd ever judge her for not knowing something. I don't think you'd like the city, since it's not a very nice place, but it's all I've ever known. I'm sure it can't be that bad. Both you and Papa come from cities after all, so there have to be some good people there. She punctuated her words with a confident nod, unfazed by Asta's hesitance. Anyway, shall we fetch some water? I'll go first so I can show you the best way to tie the knot. Here, just like this. Esther watched as Sena secured the rope to a bucket, lowering it down with a winch until it splashed into the water. Afterwards, when she mimicked Sena's knot with her own, larger bucket, Esther felt a wave of relief when it managed to make the return journey. Her smaller companion seemed thrilled too, even if it was an unremarkable feat. Perhaps she was just excited to impart her knowledge. I would also be scared to lose a bucket down there though, gotta admit. 3+ hour day, as was the case with every Spiritfarer stream. Psst, psst. The plan for now is go to 3 hours and then see where it's a good cutoff point in the game. Because I have no clue how long this one is, like none. It's not on how long to beat either. I can just go by what people, like I just looked through a few reviews on Steam, like at what time people wrote it, and they all were like around, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, so I'm guessing like same length as Start Again, that kind of thing. So a little, probably like 2 streams after this. Buckets in hand, they set off towards the gardens, water cheerfully splashing with each step. Maybe 5 streams. No. Possibly 10. No, I don't think. No. It just has no good stopping point. We just have to read it all tonight. Despite saying a small frame, she carried her full bucket with little effort. Years of solitary labor must have given her strength that belied her size. Esther felt her arms already getting slightly sore from the heavy weight, but she made a determined effort not to show any trace of discomfort in front of Sena. Here we are, Esther. My garden. What do you think? No more ending. No more ending. 24/7 hour stream all day, every day. That's a joke. I cannot do that. I will never be able to do that. As they came to a stop among the rows of neatly planted crops, Sena swiveled around to look up at Asta eagerly. I can't believe you do all of this alone. It's so pretty and well kept. You really think so? Esther nodded, her gaze drifting across the diverse, meticulously cared for vegetables and leafy greens with admiration.
Well, actually, Papa was the one who made the first garden patch here. He wanted to live off what he could grow and forage for himself because he hated relying on other people. I only saw him visit the city a few times a year.
Sleep and work during the streams? Eh.
He taught me how to do everything by myself too. Well, not everything, but he did write an almanac and a foraging book, and he made them really easy to understand just for me. So as long as the earth is still alive, I know I'll be alright.
Oh, that's sweet. No more personal life, only stream. Only stream, nothing else. Hi all friends, what are those? They have to join the streams as well. Humming constantly to herself, Sena led the way over to a large watering can that sat near a row of peas. Once she'd emptied her bucket into the can, she traded the empty vessel with Esther, a convenient way to hold plucked weeds. Luckily for Esther, weeding wasn't a task that needed much instruction. It didn't take long for them to settle into a comfortable pace together, with Sena watering and fussing over crops, while Esther pulled out unwanted sprouts. Although gardening had never really appealed to her before, it surprised Esther how relaxing it was to work with her hands like this. Working side by side helped diminish the awkwardness that still lingered between them as well, and before long, Esther felt comfortable enough to break the silence with a question. Do you ever get nervous when it grows colder? In case there's enough food to last you until spring, I mean.
Oh no, not really. Some plants grow all the way through winter, and things like potatoes will last for a while in my pantry.
Anyone wants to hang out with you, you gotta be in stream. I would feel bad for people though if I did that. I'm already really scared to even ask friends to be like, hey, do you want to join on stream and be like a co-commentator for something? I was thinking actually for Ace Attorney. I did actually ask around if anyone had time, just so I didn't have to read everything out myself. But then we could never, like, timing wise, it never worked out with anyone. So in the end I had to read it all myself. Just invite your friends and family to a stream. Next step is work.
You can try out berries and mushrooms, and nuts are always good too. There are a lot growing around here, so I never run out of those.
Motioning towards some shrubs at the edge of the clearing, Sena hefted her watering can with a light grunt before she continued.
Actually, I think it's quite fun when a new season comes along. It means I can plant new foods and make new recipes. I really miss winter if it never came, even if the house does get icy cold.
Icy cold? Isn't it cozy by the fireplace as long as you're covered in blankets?
It's a little bit drafty still, but with some hot tea it's perfect. Oh, that reminds me, I have to show you my winter recipe book sometime. I'm making a new spring one since I've been trying a lot of different things, and there are really so many amazing combinations you can have with just...
Aww. With a small smile warming her face, Esther listened as Sena began recounting tales of her recent cooking and foraging adventures. It felt so calm and comfortable somehow. Perhaps Sena had noticed how little Esther liked to speak, so instead of asking too many questions, she lightly chatted away about lettuce and peas, her voice filling the silence like the bubbling of a stream. After they'd finished weeding and watering, they brought their empty pails and a few small trowels to venture outside the clearing. Eager to share her knowledge, Sena guided Esther to the best foraging spots she'd found, pointing out which berries, nuts, and wild greens were best to gather. The more that Esther learned, the less harsh and daunting the forest appeared. Surviving in the wild always struck her as a daunting task, but Sena's simple, cheerful explanations made it seem like something anyone could accomplish as long as they put in enough effort. None of this seemed like work for Sena either. It was almost like they were just playing together instead. Esther couldn't help but envy her energy and enthusiasm, the way she managed to take so much joy from everything. And yet, at certain moments, there was something unusually determined and purposeful about her effervescent happiness. As if it were another method of survival, just like her gardening or foraging were. What do you mean? The sun's so bright today. Oh look, it's already a bit past midday. Time's been flying much faster than it normally does. All this work made me really hungry. Are you hungry, Esther? A little bit. Quit work, stream is life. Yeah? And what exactly do you want me to live off then? Quick question. Quick question. She forced her words to sound nonchalant, but in reality, Esther was just as famished. Normally she had to force herself to eat or simply forget about it all, but not today. Is that your stomach growling? No, it was probably just the wind. Oh, alright then. Well, if you wait for me in the little log near the garden, I'll bring you some food. I'll bring back some food for us. I'll just be a few minutes, I promise. Meet you there. Twirling around, she bounded off in the direction of the manor, her hair fluttering wildly in the wind. Her constant energy never failed to amaze Esther. Already she could feel a familiar deep fatigue weighing on her own shoulders, as much as Sena's presence helped distract her from it. But she was determined not to succumb to the feeling today. There was too much left for her to do. Following Sena's footsteps back towards the clearing, Esther made her way towards the fallen log near the garden patch. Let me just ask some friends to invest some money. No, hi! Good evening! How are you? After stopping briefly at the well, she approached Esther's chosen picnic spot with careful steps, balancing 2 bowls on one arm whilst carrying a bucket of fresh water in the other. Here we are! I just made something small and quick, but it should give us enough energy to finish today's chores. Beaming proudly, she offered Esther one of the bowls. It held a hearty salad topped with lentils and various seeds, a red berry glaze glistening on the leaves. Tucked into each bowl was a generous slice of warm bread, lightly toasted from the stove. Oh, I wish I had a lightly toasted, generous slice of warm bread right now. You're doing well. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. I'm also good. Still, wasting away in the heat a little, but other than that. Lightly toasted soft bread is so nice, right? Thank you. It looks delicious. It's really nothing. Well, my baby lettuces will be so happy to hear that. They always like a bit of encouragement. You talk to your lettuces? I usually chatter with all my plants. They were the only friends I really had before you came here. Yikes. With that slightly quieter, more subdued statement, Sena settled down beside her on the log. At first, Esther felt slightly awkward, caught in the wake of Sena's earnest words with no idea how to reply. But once the smaller girl took a bite of salad and started to munch away, Esther followed suit, her mood instantly lifting from the sweet berry flavor that filled her mouth. They took turns using a ladle to sip the water Sena brought, its crisp coolness as refreshing as the morning breeze. Aww. That's nice. Although they didn't exchange any words while eating, the atmosphere between them gradually settled into something calm and comfortable. Now and then, Sena would glance over at Esther, offering a little smile as soon as they made eye contact. She seemed happy just to be able to share a meal together. In a way, Esther could understand why. Normally she preferred to eat alone. Other people made her feel self-conscious about her shyness or the way she ate her food. But somehow Sena's quiet company didn't bother her. Now that they were a little more familiar with each other, perhaps the other girl didn't feel like she needed to constantly fill the silence all the time. Yeah, it's really nice when you can sit in silence with someone and it's like comfortable. Once they finished eating, the two girls made a brief return to the manor. That would actually be a good place for me to stop. Despite Sena's protests, Esther stubbornly insisted on washing up the dishes. Her pride refused to let the younger girl handle everything, even if Sena was probably far more capable at it. Let's see what they do next. Here you are, Esther. When they reunited outside, Sena handed her a large, sturdy broom, even bigger than the one she'd been using earlier. Just like with the bucket, she held a second broom that was smaller and more suited to her size. The broom was far heavier than Esther expected. It had the slightly dusty, preserved look of something that had sat unused for years but hadn't been forgotten. I know we've already done a lot today, so if you need to rest, just tell me, please. Thank you. But I'm fine. I can keep working. Alright, but you can always stop whenever you need to. Through Sena's gentle smile, Esther thought she could detect a hint of worry. It was more than a little unexpected, considering they'd only just met each other yesterday. The place we're heading is a few minutes' walk from the manor. Let's go, shall we? Okay, you know what? We're gonna do whatever that scene is, and then we're gonna stop. Motioning for Esther to follow, Sena set off eagerly into the woods. Her excitement must have hastened her steps, for Esther suddenly had trouble keeping up with her lively pace. They hurried along a slender, winding path, and the manor's statuesque presence soon disappeared among the branches. Once it did, Esther found herself swiftly losing all sense of direction among the sea of vibrant leaves. She was thoroughly glad she had Sena to guide her. Otherwise, it seemed unlikely she'd ever find her way back. Here we are. A short while later, they emerged into a less densely wooded area. At first, Esther thought she was imagining things, but when she looked more closely, she realized she was seeing exactly what she thought. What are you seeing? Oh, the cemetery. That's a lot more people than I expected. A serene, beautiful graveyard, captured in the golden sunlight like a forgotten relic lost to time. Rows upon rows of headstones stood between the trees, each one a different shape and size. But despite the obvious age, and the fact that they were nestled in the woods instead of a proper clearing, every grave looked incredibly clean. It gave the cemetery a strange, ethereal atmosphere, with the same awe and reverence that surrounded mythical artifacts in a museum. Thank you so much for the sub! I hope you enjoy the emotes! Thank you! And the Wiggly! There he is, our Wiggly boy. Not far in the distance, a large mausoleum rose upon the shore of the graveyard's pond, casting a somber reflection across the water. It caught Esther's eye, and for a moment she found herself mesmerized by its towering presence. He always enjoyed here's a goddess report. Oh, thank you! Are you looking at the mausoleum? I don't think I pronounced that correctly. Thank you for the pat. And the diary time. It's locked, I'm afraid. I've looked all over the manor and the grounds, but I don't think I'll ever find the key. Papa must have lost it. I found a key.
Thank you for the pet.
Sena offered a small, wistful smile, shaking her head.
I found a key.
Esther pulled her focus back to the other girl, blinking. It felt like something strange had come over her briefly, but she had no idea what it was. Why do you tend to this place so closely? Is anyone you know buried here?
No, I don't know any of them.
To Esther's surprise, Sena shook her head. It seemed far too insensitive to ask where Sena's father was buried if he wasn't in the graveyard, so Esther bit her lip and let the other girl continue. Hello, Raiders! Hi! Good evening! Welcome, Raiders! Hello, hello, hello! Thank you so much! Hi! My name is Noah. I like the color pink, visual novels and JRPGs, and we're currently playing Pale Cachexia. I have no idea how to pronounce this game's name, I'm gonna be honest. It's a visual novel. It does not have any choices. You were trying to pronounce it too. I have no fucking clue what the word does even mean. But also a Pikachu for the Raiders.
Pikachu. Vega. Pikachu.
Seisha? Okay. Best Pikachu, thank you. Oh, that is unfortunate. Because I had your stream open in the background, I was thinking, I could come over there when I finish. But I keep going because I want to find a good place to stop in this game, and I haven't found a good place to stop yet. It's all good. Anyway, with the girl on the right is called Esther, and the girl on the left is a little girl who seems to live in this manor on her own, and we stumbled upon this manor. Girl on the right, Esther, seems to suffer from an illness called the Pale. We don't know exactly what it entails, but there seems to be no cure for it so far. We're searching for a cure. And we just arrived at the manor yesterday, and now we're helping her out with the chores, and in return she will let us look at her father's research notes, and the father has died a few years back, so it's been just her at the manor.
Actually, I don't really know who's buried here. Papa never gave me much of an answer.
You will finish this game. I will not. No. I will not finish this game today. I don't know how long it is. We cannot make it today. I'm sorry. We already finished another game today.
But since this manor belonged to his family, the cemetery is probably for old relatives. All of the graves seem like they've been here for a very long time.
As her gaze drifted across the headstones, Sena's expression grew a little more distant again. It's about 5 hours. Yeah, that's a little too long. It's a little too long for today's stream. Because if it's 5 hours, generally, me on stream, it's gonna take me longer because I have to read it all aloud myself, right? We beat Start Again like an hour ago. Another visual novel. You can be faster. No, I have to. But I want to make it a good experience. Me reading it aloud. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. That's a mighty uwu. 5 hours is for noobs. You're a pro. It's the middle of the week. I have to go do my stupid day job tomorrow. I'm sorry. On the weekend, sure. On the weekend, 5 hours is for noobs. That's the minimum I try to meet on weekend streams.
I don't know why, but I've always been drawn here ever since I was a little girl. It feels so peaceful, lonely, but peaceful and comforting in a strange way. Like a place that will always be here, always the same as long as I take care of it. Her words trailed off slowly, ending in little more than a whisper that faded into the breeze. My day job is an office job. But only a few lingering seconds passed before Sena seemed to catch herself, blinking and restoring a brighter smile to her face. Thank you so much for the follow. I hope you enjoy your stay. Describe your stream. Yeah, what happened in Tomodachi Life, huh? I never played it much. I think if I booted up my Tomodachi Life, I would get hit with I don't know. I just know that I definitely had people in there as characters who I'm not in contact with anymore. I think that would hurt. A lot happened. Drama. Okay. Well, let me show you what I usually do here. It's an easy chore and very calming. I think you'll like it. It was impossible to just ignore the brief moments that came over Sena, where it seemed like she wasn't aware of Esther's presence at all. But then again, after being alone for so long, it was only natural that she'd fall back into her own thoughts now and then. I'm ready. With these brooms, sweeping is involved somehow, I assume? It is! What a clever guess! You had a really sad breakup! No! And you got in the island. Nice! Come. I always start over here in the northwest patch. You're gonna be AFK for a bit? Okay, yeah! Hydrate and cool off, for sure. Thank you so much for coming by and thank you for the raid. Gently taking Esther's hand, Sena led her over to the first row of graves. She demonstrated how she cleared each headstone of stray leaves and surrounding weeds and, once or twice a week, picked little bunches of flowers to rest beside the markers. Like Sena had said before, the task was easy and calming. Despite her initial hesitance, Esther soon found herself enjoying how peaceful the cemetery felt, and honoring the dead certainly seemed like a worthwhile effort. Yet, despite the soothing lull and thoughts it afforded her and the secluded beauty that surrounded them, Esther couldn't shake a sense of uneasiness that tingled at the nape of her neck. A sense that they were not alone in the cemetery. It was completely irrational, and she couldn't explain it no matter how hard she tried. Okay, but to be fair, she also felt like she wasn't alone in the middle of the forest, so... But even in the daytime, with the sun's gentle afternoon rays filtering through the trees, something about the graveyard's shadows struck her as peculiarly haunting. Ugh. As evening began to slowly settle over the forest, the two girls made their way back to the manor. Despite her tiredness, Esther's heart leapt at the prospect of finally beginning her research once they arrived. And, true to her promise, Sena took Esther straight up to her father's study. By the time they arrived, however, the towering bookshelves blocked out most of the remaining sunlight, so they had to fetch a few candles to alleviate the gloom. According to Sena, she used such light sources sparingly, as non-wood fuel was difficult to stockpile. Luckily, there were a few types of shrubs and trees in the forest that she could extract wax from, as well as seeds and nuts that could be crushed for oil. But since Esther was a special guest, Sena reassured her that she could light as many candles as she needed during her stay. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. It feels like so long since I've seen any candlelight in this room. Well, it has been quite long, I suppose. The last time was when Papa was still around. Fucking typos! Setting a newly lit candle down on the desk, Sena let out a quiet sigh. Sena, your father... Can I just say your reach was just breathtaking? Thank you! I designed it myself. I did not do the whole drawing and rigging process, but the design is mine! I've been meaning to ask, what was his name? Oh, his name was Isaiah. It's so strange to say it out loud since I never called him that.
I only heard someone use his name once, back when I was very small. Sweet design is super cute. Thank you. You know, normally we're currently on the short hair. Oh, thank you for the non-binary. We're currently on the short hair. We also have longer hair options. Also, we have these here. She fiddled with the hem of her dress, her gaze drifting away from Esther's. I'm sorry about the mess in here. All these loose papers will probably make it hard for you to find what you're looking for. Also, thank you for the hydrate time. Papa never liked to throw things away, especially not his letters. Not even his little scribbles or notes. You can read any of them you like, but Well, Papa always told me not to peep at his writings, so even now I try to leave them as they are. You probably think I'm very silly for it, I'm sure. I can help you with anything else, though. Would you like me to sort out the books, maybe? No, it's alright. You've been very kind to me already. I don't want to push you any further. Her words were quiet and gentle but firm. She didn't want to take advantage of Zaina's generosity, and although she'd never mentioned it directly, Esther also needed some time alone. Alright then, I'll leave you to it. If you need me, I'll be in the kitchen fixing up dinner. You can come down whenever you're ready. Beaming at Esther encouragingly, she turned towards the door, lifting her hand in a little wave. Good luck. Thank you. Agency who loves books, yet their heart yearns for adventures, filling the eyes with marvelous discoveries. Oh! I mean, we do be loving books here. That's very true. We do love books. Very true. As soon as presence faded away, the study's atmosphere steadily began to shift. A dark, grim cloud of memories seemed to hang over the room, specters of unending nights and restless sleep. Although Esther couldn't pinpoint exactly why, she had the distinct sense that this chamber belonged to a deeply troubled mind. Clutching a candle in one hand, she started to scan through the shelves, her eyes flicking across the numerous titles. Sena was right. Her father had collected a staggering assortment of books. But as she glanced over the various titles before her, Esther noticed something unusual. Despite Isaiah's obvious focus on alchemy, there seemed to be almost as many books on ghosts and spirits, and a number of treatises on the supernatural. What? What's that mean? Treatises. A long formal piece of writing about a particular subject. Traktat. Gattung. Literaturgattung. Okay, I have not heard that word before in my life. So much about me loving books, and I never heard that word before in my life. Were they related to his search for a cure at all? Were they related to or was there some other reason for his apparent obsession? Esther couldn't understand how ghosts might be related to the Pale, so maybe he'd simply found them interesting to research. Still, the anomaly stuck out in her mind, leaving her with a nagging set of questions. As she opened up a large book on biology, suddenly a loose leaf of parchment fluttered out. Esther bent down to pick it up, turning the aged paper over in her hands. It looked like a journal entry, but there was no date to be found. Curiously squinting at the messy script, Esther brought it over to the nearest lamp and began to read. What's it gonna say? 7 days have passed since Amaranth left me. 3 days since Jeremiah told me he saw her with another man, her previous husband, now miraculously returned from his absence. I cannot eat, I cannot sleep. My heart bounds with manic energy between rage and this crushing sense of abandonment. In the depths of my darkest moods, I look back on the long months of her pregnancy. Months that I spent on carpentry, furnishing, cleaning, planting, remaking this dusty tomb of an estate into a family manor. All for her, all because she could never stand life in a dreadful city. And where is she now? Back in his chambers, no doubt, embracing him in the darkness so that she might hide the shameful stretch marks of her maternity. Damn her, that psychopathic wretch! Excuse me! Damn her and the lecherous, adulterous bastard of a husband. Oh, how I used to wonder what such a beautiful soul as her might have seen in a waste of flesh like him. But now, with the veil lifted from my eyes, I finally understand. They are alike, two souls perfectly matched in their shallowness and fickle attentions. What a ridiculous fool I was, ever believing that she might come to truly care for a penniless researcher, one with nothing to offer her but himself. And now, what am I left with? A small child and no mother to raise it. An old family home and no family to fill its many chambers. A retirement from my life in medicine, without anything worthy left to retire for. No, I refuse. I refuse to let her triumph over me. I will remain here, away from that toxic conurbation, isolated among the fruits of my sweat and labor. With these foundations I have laid in the land, I know I can survive solely by myself, without recourse to the city's indulgent pleasures. Here, amidst my tomes and papers, I will press onward in my research towards the last and most important focus of my life, a cure for this disease. And as for the little girl, we look nothing alike, she and I. Indeed, now that I am privy to her mother's treachery, I suspect her father may be another man entirely. You just got a notification I'm streaming. Well, good thing you got that. How else would you have found out that I'm streaming? This game doesn't seem to work in chapters at all. It's also a kinetic novel, so there's no choices to be made either, so it's just a long long trip. The little hairs on her head are purely golden, and everything from her eyes to her lips is nothing but a bitter replica of that woman's features. She even has the self-same twinkling, uncaring laugh, as if the world could never touch her nor dare to make her cry. The very thought irritates me to no end. I cannot bear the sight of her, and an ending reminder of the future that was stolen from me. Thus I am resolved. I will take the girl to the city, and leave her in the hands of the orphanage there. No! A less cruel fate, no doubt, than to remain forever imprisoned with an unloving father. In the end, I know I could never truly amount to anything more for her. Oh. Aww. Aww. Guten Abend! Hi, how are you? Kinetic novels, haven't had those in a while? Yeah. Me either. I've only had some that had at least a few choices to make. As Esther's eyes drifted across the page's last words, she felt a strange, uncomfortable sense of guilt in her chest. The girl he was talking about, he had to have meant Zaina. Did he really feel so bitterly towards her? Obviously, Isaiah hadn't taken his daughter to an orphanage, but his resentment of her sounded deep-rooted. It felt invasive and overly intimate to be reading his private thoughts, but did she really have much choice if there was any chance Isaiah's writing hinted at a cure? She had to go through everything, including his journals, in case he mentioned any important research. Otherwise, there was a very good chance she'd miss something. You have the choice of playing or not playing it. Tucking the journal page away, she hastily pushed the book back into its shelf. Now she was even more glad that she decided to search alone. Some parts of the past were better off remaining buried, it seemed. Attempting to banish the journal page from her mind, Esther combed through a few stacks of papers and books lying around the study, scanning through them in an attempt to glean any useful information. But her exhaustion from the day's work, along with the esoteric, erudite nature of Isaiah's research, made it increasingly difficult to concentrate. Perhaps she was better off returning the next day, when presumably she'd have more energy to scan over things. Perhaps. Leaving the study with a faint sense of disappointment, Esther made her way down to the kitchen where she could hear Zaina working happily away. She prepared a rich, hearty vegetable stew for the supper and a delicious pot of tea to accompany it. Okay, let's have dinner then. Let's have dinner. Let's have dinner and see. See. And I say this and then I'm gonna go for like another hour and be like, oh, let's look at this thing and this thing. As night fell, they shared their meal at the little kitchen table, warmed by the nearby cozy hearth. I don't know how to actually say this word. Unlike the quiet lunch, Sena kept up a lively, mostly one-sided conversation all the while, as if she'd suddenly thought of 100 more things to say in Esther's absence. Still, it felt so comfortable somehow. The normal pressures of acting sociable didn't seem to apply around Sena, who seemed content just to share Esther's presence, even if the older girl rarely spoke. A peace Esther had only felt before when she was alone. How unfamiliar it all was. I like the little cracking noise of the fire. That's so nice. Esther? Esther, are you alright? After they finished washing their dishes and wandered back into the parlor, Sena gave Esther a curious, slightly worried look. I think you could use some rest. You look really, really tired. Thank you for the hydrate. I almost made my bubble tea fall over. Oh my god. You did work very hard today. She couldn't deny Sena's observation. It was becoming steadily more of a struggle keeping her eyes open, and her muscles ached from so much unexpected use. You're right. I should sleep, so I have the energy to go through the study more properly tomorrow. You should rest too, Sena. Yes, of course. You should be able to go through the chores more quickly tomorrow too, since you're an expert now. Aww. Well, I'll see you in the morning then, Esther. Sleep well. After pausing for a short moment, she gave a playful little curtsy with a smile, to which Esther nodded in response. But as she started to turn towards the stairs, Sena hesitated again, glancing back at Esther somewhat shyly. Esther. You probably aren't very comfortable, right? I mean, wearing your normal day clothes to sleep? The thought had barely crossed her mind, but Sena was right. Her traveling outfit wasn't exactly the most pleasant thing to rest in. If you don't stop when they go to sleep, there probably won't be another point. Very true. We're gonna end here now, soon. I think you're too big for any of my clothes, but if you'd like, I could give you one of Papa's old shirts to wear at night. He was really tall, so it would be like a nightgown for you. Only if it's no trouble. No, not at all. If you're going to be staying here for a little while, it makes sense, doesn't it? You can't be wearing the same thing all the time. Anyway, I'll be right back. Stay here just a moment. Taking off in what was almost a sprint, she bounded over to the stairs, vanishing up them the next moment. Esther barely had to wait a minute before she heard returning footsteps and spotted Sena fluttering through the foyer like a white rabbit. And here we are! She unfurled a huge black shirt from beneath her arm, flourishing it like a grand cape. Esther tentatively reached out for the shirt. Even though it was probably silly of her, she couldn't shake a sense of guilt, agreeing to wear something that belonged to a person so recently deceased. He's been dead for 6 years! 6 years! Recently deceased. 6 years! I'd argue that's not that recent. I'd argue that is not that recent. Sena's father, no less. Well, you can go change in the kitchen if you like. I'll wait here. The same feeling didn't seem to bother Sena, who gave Esther an eager, nearly impatient smile. Alright. Do we also get a different sprite? After a brief pause, she relented, moving to retreat into the kitchen. It was quite chilly away from the fire, so Esther undressed quickly, goosebumps raising on her arms as soon as she unbuttoned her blouse. Once the clothes were hastily folded up beside her, she pulled the shirt over her head, immediately thankful for the loose warmth it provided. Do I get a different sprite? Yeah, baby! How does it look? She wandered back into the living room, hesitantly shifting her gaze over to Sena. The soft, loose fabric hung over Esther's frame like an oversized dress, her arms lost in the flowing sleeves. It smelled remarkably clean. Sena must have kept washing her father's clothes all these years.
Wow!
It may feel recent if you're like young and afterwards alone. Maybe.
It really suits you, Esther, just like a cozy nightgown.
Sena gasped with delight, clasping her hands together and beaming brightly. You weren't lying about it being big. She raised one arm to study her dangling sleeve, feeling somewhat embarrassed about how ridiculous she must have looked. Still, she had to admit it was much cozier than her blouse and skirt. It also made Esther feel a little more at home instead of a wanderer simply staying overnight. Thank you, Sena. I promise I'll take good care of it.
Aw, you don't need to be so formal, Esther. It's only just a shirt. But I'm happy you like it. Papa was always very practical, so I think he'd be glad to know his clothes were being put to good use again.
A gentle smile crossed Sena's features, carrying a trace of both sadness and warm affection.
Well, now that you get something nicer to sleep in, I suppose it's bedtime. Good night, Esther. Sleep well.
Good night, Sena. Thank you again. When they parted ways and Sena's bedroom door had softly clicked shut upstairs, Esther lowered herself onto the couch once more. It was her second night here, but already it was starting to feel like something of a pleasant routine. Pleasant, if not for what always had to preface her sleep. Reaching down for where her satchel still rested on the floor, Esther pulled out a small silver watch from before. Reluctantly, but methodically, she flicked the switch and pushed the needle into her arm. It makes me very, very uncomfortable that she does not seem to, clean it before she stabs herself with it. Like, no wonder you're fucking sick. I don't know what the pale is, but no wonder you're sick if you just stab a metallic thing in your arm before actually cleaning it every time. It's Jinrei, not late. No, you're never late. Thank you so much for coming by. Siphoning out her blood before forcing the altered compound back into her vein. Around and around the hands spun until they marked a full day's worth of hours. This is a gothic Rian you've seen before. Oh, you've seen it before! I'm playing it blind. I have no clue what it's about. But I'm enjoying it so far. Really like the art style. The syringe slipped free from her skin, leaving only a few beads of deep red behind. It was difficult to describe the strange, sickly discomfort she felt during and after the process. At first there was a modicum of relief, a pleasant burst that distracted her from the injection. But within a few moments, it swiftly turned into a nauseating weight in the pit of her stomach, a feeling like something alien and unwanted had begun circling in her bloodstream. She had to keep doing it for now. One day she'd no longer be dependent on a loathsome thing. But she could only dream of when that day would finally come. He laughed the out for Esther. Me too. She's super pretty. Curling her legs up on the sofa, Esther huddled beneath her blankets. She felt far more comfortable in Isaiah's shirt at least, though it hardly mattered, considering how deeply tired she was. Before long, the warmth of her well-deserved sleep began to drown out all her thoughts. The weight on her mind steadily cleared, fading into a muddy haze. Until at last she was pulled into the timeless world of dreams. There we go! Alright. That's a good point. Yep. That is a good point to save. Oh, that's a lot of save files. Not bad. I'm not going to use any of those. The only one I'm going to be using is number 1. And since it's a kinetic novel, I don't even need to save for any choices. So, you only live to rate the stream, and it's very true. You're also just in time for me to rate someone else because we're already going overtime again. But this is good. We finished start again. we got started on this one. I have a theory. On this game already, but frankly I know too little to really say to really build it up more. We're gonna see. We're gonna continue playing this game on Sunday, which was actually the original plan to even start the game, but hey, we're here now. We're gonna play more Asha on Friday. I hope to get a lot done in Asha, because right now in Asha we literally have all the time in the world to just get to year 3 and raise everyone's friendship level, so it's gonna be kind of grindy, I guess. Thank you for a nice stream. No, thank you for coming. And Saturday more Somnium Fights again. Probably another long stream. Should be able to do a long stream as well, depending on the weather. To be fair, if the weather is absolutely like the way it is today, so it is too warm during the day, we'll probably have to push the stream back to like nighttime, and I'm not sure how long I'll be able to stay awake then, but hey, we're gonna try. More of this game on Friday. Once again, everyone who came with the stream, everyone who came with the raid, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed your stay. I hope everyone else also enjoyed their stay. Let me set this all up. Let me set up a raid to our favorite mouse, who also started streaming, I noticed. Our favorite mouse is playing one of my favorite games today. Wish you a good yawn. How dare you? How dare you? Let me set up a raid to our favorite mouse who's planning on playing Grease today. Friendly reminder that Grease is currently on sale on Steam for 75% off, which is a steal for such a lovely game. It's a steal, and if you ever were interested in the game, in what it looked like, in what it was about, you like platforming, you like games that only rely on the like visual storytelling, no text or anything, and great soundtrack, please give Grease a chance. Please play Grease. I need everyone and their mother to play Grease. It's such a lovely game. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming tonight. I wish you all a very, very good night. I'll see you all on Friday, unless I've turned into a puddle by then. Good night for now. See you all soon.
And bye bye.